ninja. Baby, let's call that a truce. And I wish you could know me. Face on the news every day to know me. And I wish you could know me. Face on the news every day to know me. You to know me. You to know me.
I never had a chance to tell you how. Feels like you're a part of me. I never had a chance to tell you how. Follow me, yeah. I never had a chance to tell you how. Feels like you're a part of me. I never had a chance to tell you how. Follow me, yeah. I never had a chance to tell you how. Feels like you're a part of me. I never had a chance to tell you how. Follow me, yeah.
Look as I boost, I can't get the ninja. Baby, let's call that a truce. And I wish you could know me. Face on the news every day to know me. And I wish you could know me. Face on the news every day to know me. You to know me. You to know me.
Had a chance to tell you how. Feels like you're a part of me. I never had a chance to tell you how. Follow me, yeah. I never had a chance to tell you how. Feels like you're a part of me. I never had
Hejka widzowie kochani, co tam u was? Jak tam wam dzionek minął? Trochę mi się przysnęło, ale... O, tylko. Ale jestem już, ale już jestem. Dobrze, dobrze. Co tam u was widzowie, moi kochani? Fajnie. What's up? Dobra, 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 no dobra, no dobra, dobra, gramy, 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 gramy. Niech się ta gra uruchomi, halo, Steam, halo. Bump, lali, lali, lali. Lali, lali, bump. Dobrze, dobrze. Jej. Jej. Zrobiłem sobie herbatę, bo potrzebuję cukru i kofeiny, więc zrobiłem sobie herbatę. Torebki z wczoraj, ale zrobiłem. O kurwa, ale mnie wykręciło. Halo? Jezu, co się dzieje? Co tam u was widzowie? Co tam robicie? Co tam, jak tam? Sz- sz- Juhu. Human. Dobra. Gramy w tą chińską grę. Chinese. A co, zablokowałeś kartę? Ja też kocham. Hej, Shiba, kochaniutka, co tam u ciebie? Jak tam? Hej! A co, bo przecież po streamie mieliśmy oglądać jakiej dramy. Jezu, czy ta gra się załaduje? Popierdoli mnie. O Boże, jeśli ta gra uruchomi, proszę, proszę, proszę. Uczę się japońskiego, jedna sprawa, szczerze. Och. Ja bym się uczyła japońskiego, gdyby istniały jakiekolwiek dobre polskie podręczniki do japońskiego. Wszystkie podręczniki do japońskiego po polsku są jakby przeterminowane. No, to wiem. Właśnie o tym wiem. Jezu, czy ta gra się może uruchomić? Halo? Halo? Ochujeje. Jak gra się ładuje, to muszę coś zrobić jeszcze. Popierdoli mnie. Fajna sprawa, szczerze. O kurde. Dobra, jest. Działa. Zrobiłam i działa. Fajna rzecz, szczerze. Chciałabyś się przenieść całkowicie na streamowanie po japońsku, czy nie? Ladint. Na Steam. Jaki mythical item? A ja nie mam jakiegoś... To co to jest? One equipment grants the spell while sign when attacking with a melee weapon near main contains heart attack automatic. Nie. To nie, bo jest... Ta postać jest... magiem. Equipment... grant... fajnie może być. Nie mogę, bo nim jest. Czekaj. Mogę? No, ale japoński rynek streamingowy jest dużo bardziej rozwinięty. No, tylko nie na Twitchu oczywiście. Bardziej właśnie na Niko albo ten. Bilibili to jest chińska. Kurwa. No, też bym się chciała mandaryńskiego nauczyć. Ja pierdolę, fajnie by było. No. Zawsze możesz zrobić multi-streaming.
As you were reading through the newspaper, Uvarek IVD, an unexpected CO mission Carter, is a well-known jeweler. And through a newspaper,
Oj, właśnie cię
you
banuję
learn
ze
that he is
słowo
preparing for a remarkable jewelry exhibition. Just as you were amazed by the colorful life of wealthy people, you received a commission to investigate a missing person case. The client is Mr. Carter himself. His wife mysteriously disappeared from their bedroom not long ago. He suspects someone is trying to harm him. So he hired you to investigate this case and temporarily act as his bodyguard. You decide to accept this commission and prepare to take a car ride to Carter's luxurious mansion. During the journey, you pass through a picturesque forest. The sunny weather gives off an atmosphere of tranquility and peace of mind. On both sides of the road are fields shaded by green trees. with gentle breeze
Hej
brushing against
perełko,
your
co
ears.
tam kochaniutki? Ja cię, ale fajnie, że jesteś.
Perhaps there won't be too many surprises in this mission. Or so you think? Well, at least you had attempted to be positive about this trip. Already, your car had broken down out of nowhere. So you stopped at a nearby gas station in hopes of repairing it. It was just your luck that you wandered right into a gang's territory and soon found yourself surrounded. The door opens and a girl yanks you inside. She questions you for a moment, realizing that you're also headed to Carter's residence. That's where you find your current situation.
The name
Tragedia?
Saya.
Jaka tragedia? Saja.
Any particular reason you are heading to Carter's? Are you aware of what recently happened there? It's not exactly safe.
Tragedia.
Saya nods, watching the road ahead of her. You begin to settle in and focus on a black cat that you've noticed laying just ahead of you.
Ojcze.
It seems to have laid claim to the perfect spot in the sun.
Miał.
Her name is Snow. Isn't she cute?
You reach out to Snow and touch her head. She's not afraid of strangers. Petting her soft fur, you feel a bit more
No czemu
relaxed.
tragedia? Atrybiut.
Aren't you worried about being in danger? Carter's home may be targeted by somebody. I'm definitely not. How about this? What if I said I were a professional assassin? Would you believe me?
Upon hearing your words, the corners of Saya's mouth rise slightly. She points at the glove compartment.
Tak, iż.
Saya's invited you to look inside the glove compartment. Do you want to do so?
Hey, went you inside the glove. O, no nie! O, mogę. Dobra. Za SP, ale mogę. Kurwa, no nie wierzę.
You flip open the compartment and a small black chest falls onto your lap.
No to co się...
It's rather heavy for its size.
To po co się tak zjarał? No po co?
Inside you find rows upon rows of
Trzeba było?
bullets and
Trzeba
a
było?
well-kept magnum revolver. It's only then that Snow decides to make her new home inside the drawer, as if it's more comfy there.
Really
Ammo.
now? No reaction. That chest is packed full of bullets and you are unfazed. How about you try to guess what I'm here for? You are no fun. Well, to my point. I'd appreciate if you please don't get in my way. Alright.
A, rozumiem.
The sky gradually darkens as
Oj,
rolling
chyba
clouds
perła.
drift into view above. It looks like it might rain at
Trzeba
any
było się
moment.
tak zjarać? Trzeba było?
At this point the sun is about
Oszczędzaj
to
się na
set,
przyszłość.
but you have reached the familiar road near the Carter mansion.
Póki jeszcze możesz.
Saya drifts around the bend skillfully and slams on the gas pedal. She quickly charges ahead toward the Carter's mansion and into the front parking. As you pull in, a woman strolls up to the vehicle. She's dressed in a butler's attire and seems to be about 40 or 50 years old, but in rather incredible shape. She wears her uniform with a sense of pride, giving you a strange sense of
No,
reliability.
ty musisz sobie odpuścić.
In the corner of your eye, you notice Carter sitting within in the study of the mansion. He seems to be talking to someone, but strangely there is no one in front of him. He's holding a glowing piece of metal, seemingly speaking to it. The butler follows your gaze to Carter and politely bows in apology.
My lord has been waiting in the study for some time. Please allow me to lead you to him now.
You begin to follow behind the butler as she takes you towards the manor. Before you sits a magnificent building, though you remember Carter referring to it as just a quaint country house before. As you take in the Berlin countryside, you walk through the doorway and find yourself in the manor's grand dining room.
Dobra.
Outside,
herbatka.
you can see a grand garden comprised of numerous flora,
Zajebiście dobra.
many of which seem imported. Around you,
Ever since a recent incident, the house staff have been uncomfortable. I've
Ojcze.
tried to instruct them to calm down
Co
some
nie wiedziałem, że
pleasant
stałeś się,
attention.
że
But
stałeś
as
się
you can
tatą.
see,
Jak to się
please
stało?
feel
the butler continues to report on various happenings of the property as you make your way towards the study. Right. What you noticed earlier was what Carter calls a cell phone. It acts as a longer distance form of communication.
Nawet mi nie
My
powiedziałeś?
dear friends who have come all this way, I apologize for the long wait.
Muszę... Friends.
Before we
Okay.
get to the matter I asked you for, there is an item that I wish to show you.
You hear a mechanism
Ooh.
begin to turn inside the
Ładnie.
table. The top of the table splits apart and a glass case emerges
Ładnie,
within the
ładnie.
table. Within lies a bust wearing a necklace. What really catches your eye though is the beautiful sapphire necklace hanging from its neck.
I've always heard you were more than just a businessman. It seems like you also have an interest in creating gadgets. Quite an interesting hobby you've got.
My skills are not worth bragging about. I purchased this antique from an auction house. The gems on it are priceless.
Carter's words make you stare at the gem.
No, chyba cię ignoruje ten... O, ogłoszenie, jakie ogłoszenie? Uwaga, uwaga. O, udało się za pierwszym razem.
When you
Proszę
focus
uwagę.
on the gem, your vision begins to warp into a strange illusion. The gem appears to be practically absorbing the surrounding light, much like a black hole devouring everything. Your eyes begins to tremble, as if countless colors burst from the gem. You cannot describe the colors,
A więc,
but just feel an overwhelming sense of fear and intimidation from each.
więc...
An intense sensory stimulation wreaks havoc through your nerves.
Dziadek, co ty tak mało piszesz? Halo? Tak.
The light begins to fade as Carter's voice pulls you back to reality.
O, ja was też kocham. Ja was też kocham,
This gem
moi
is
kochani
also
widzowie.
I found this through one of my close contacts that thought it might interest me. From my studies, this gem is completely unique in its makeup. That's why in terms of why I'm talking to you about this though. I suspect that it may
Hej,
be
Leszczyna
related to
kochana, co
my
tam u
wife's
ciebie?
appearance.
Jej.
Correct. Once this Saladinate arrived at the mansion,
Jej.
strange things began happening consistently.
Ja znowu zaspałam na streama i godzinę później.
The maids began noticing signs of vandalism on the property. There have also occasionally been flowers thrown throughout the garden in an intentional manner.
Mok wrapa? O kurwa. Mam nadzieję, że było dobre. Umiera z przepełnienia?
Both myself and my
Ja
staff
cię.
have heard strange noises coming from the hallway every now and then as well.
Wybuchniesz?
I suspect that someone is after the Paladin.
Miło było cię znać, Leszczyna.
That being said, even my contact was completely lost as to who else knew of our exchange. While it was less harmful at first, my wife's disappearance became the final straw and the reason that I summoned you here.
Nie.
In that case, why did you choose to store the Saladinate in? Isn't that basically provoking whoever is doing this?
Haha.
I teraz Leszczyna taką,
Under
taką szpileczkę i Leszczyna
where I
wybuchnie.
safely store my various valuables.
I kurwa jest problem? Jaki jest problem?
What you just saw was merely a holographic projection. Now that you have an understanding of my request, I'd like to begin by investigating the room
Just as Carter finishes his sentence, the device on his desk
Apologies. My lord is rather busy even with the issue. He did ask that I act as your guardian. The event.
Spoko.
The butler leads you away from the study, into the
No,
corridors
piszesz,
of
że
the
jest
mansion.
kurwa problem.
As the clamor of daylight fades, the shadows of night creep into the soul. While there are many rooms in Carter's map, she also tells you that currently, The mansion has no other rooms currently
Jezu,
occupied,
ale czytania.
as the staff primarily reside either in their own residences or just off the property. Many of the manor's rooms have ended up used as utility setups for supplies to maintain the manor.
Pipi.
The housekeeper pushes the door open, and in front of you is a very cozy room, colored mainly with pink.
This used to be the little lady's room, but she passed away due to a catastrophic car accident 5 years ago. It was a great shock for Mistress Kaya,
O,
and she
o
has
czym
lived
ty
here ever
mówisz?
since.
O czym ty mówisz? O 30 minut, 30 minut temu dotykałeś, nie wierzę.
I didn't know much about the day she disappeared, so I took the liberty of tidying up the room.
No towers.
Pardon me.
No tower.
What have you put in place?
A diary fell on the floor. I recognized it as Miss Diary, so I put it back on the table. Madam had always treasured that diary, but somehow she dropped it on the floor. I was confused by this.
Tam.
Snow. I'm going to take care of Snow. My bad.
My lord has instructed me to cooperate with the guests in their investigation. So I'll wait here for
No
now.
tower. Ładna muzyczka. A, zajebałam butelkę wody. Zajebałam.
The door does not have a handle or a lock. On the wall,
My guests, all the rooms have now been remodeled by my lord. Since Madam disappeared, the lord's unease has become more and more evident. Now, the only way to open and close the rooms of the house is with this key we refer to as a pass card.
you see the butler with a black card in her hand. You remember that when opening the door, she put the card in the box area before the door was opened.
Aha.
You pull out the drawers and check them one by
Mogę
one,
zajebać?
only to these bottles and jars are neatly arranged. It seems that the madam
Zajebie. Zajebałam.
On the table above Snow sits a diary. It seems to have been infrequently used, but you notice that the owner is missing. As you read,
Mr.
you see the
Carter.
diary end abruptly
Jimmy
one day.
Carter?
You
Nie wierzę.
suspect it was the day of her accident. The writing on the last page is blurred as if it had been smeared by water. As if in thought, you run your hand over the ink of the last page. A flood of information pours into your mind. Mindless, but containing strong emotion. You look back up and, a short distance away, you see a skinny, young girl walking down the street. You hear the engine of a car roar from your right. You turn briefly as the car enters your vision and at full speed runs into the girl. Blood spew. You are unable to move. The car collides with you as the illusionary vision fades. As you find yourself back in the bedroom, you stumble
No
back,
właśnie nie
losing your
wiem.
balance. Saya catches you before you can hit the ground. But your head...
Are you alright there, partner?
You hear her words,
Była
but
w
take a
trakcie.
moment to collect yourself. Your brain feels as though a portion of your mind's
What was it you saw that's got you so what? A black vintage model. Wait, does it resemble the one in the parking lot we passed earlier? It'd probably be best that I view this as well.
Ja nie rozumiem, co ty piszesz.
She opens the diary in a hurry,
Co ty piszesz?
expecting to experience what you told her. Oddly,
Nie ma
she
spania.
seems to experience no change. You get the feeling she looks over to you, almost looking disappointed.
What a shame. I guess only you witnessed it. This last page looks to be ruined though.
Kurwa, co przypinasz?
If I may offer my opinion, the damage may have been by the madam. Her unstable state may have left her wanting to remove any traces that would remind her of her daughter's death.
Have you encountered anything strange before with this diary? Potentially along the lines of a vision of a black vehicle.
No ale dobrze.
No, I have
Dobra,
not.
herbatka.
I apologize for being unable to provide a
Dobra,
better.
herbatka.
Have there been
Dobra.
any strange appearances of note in this space before your madam's disappearance?
Nothing of note comes to mind as being overly strange. While I do come here near daily to clean, I'm not in this space for extended periods of time.
Alright then.
Albo coś muszę zrobić i chcę wyjść sobie, no dla mnie to jest taki magiczny, kurwa, ten mój pokój i jest jakby bańką bez śmiechu. Co? Co
We'll
ty
continue
mówisz?
our investigation for a moment
Nie
longer.
rozumiem.
As you please, Lady Saya.
Będę staczać po tych schodach, aby iść do łazienki. Czuję się jak kobieta w ciąży z 6-latkami.
Let's
Szkoda,
look
szkoda.
around a little longer. I want to entertain a few more possible.
You examine the room from the corner, hoping that the angle might help your concentration. As you take a moment to think, you notice a small crack on the floor to the wall behind you. It looks as though the wall has cracked from the inside from structural damage.
Tragedia.
You examine as you
No, dwa blanty Marychę palił.
the door does
My guess, since now,
you remember
certainly, you have been given the
once you complete your investigation here, you should go to Carter's room to
No tu mamy jeszcze.
the windows each seem to have been reinforced with a layer of metal wire. This type of mesh looks as though it's to both prevent breaking. The window in front of you begins to reflect something as you simply stand there. It's not your silhouette though. As you focus on the silhouette, you see a figure reading a diary.
Wow.
The figure looks up and directly into your eyes.
Wow.
She shrieks in terror, dropping the diary onto the floor. The window begins to blur as the reflection fades.
Jak... No co nie, widzisz? Coś jest nie tak z tym pokojem.
Before you sits a bed that remains the same as it was the day Madam disappeared.
To
You
perła,
quickly
no to
inspect the bedding,
odpowiedzi.
not finding anything particularly concerning and under the bed, you find a plethora of pill bottles scattered across the floor.
Okej. Antidepressant.
I had advised the madam to be careful of her health on multiple occasions. Even when I had refused to get them for her, she would find them somewhere else.
Lodowisko to tak naprawdę jest to lód, który równie dobrze może chlać słychać. No tak, to jest to. No z tego
Then there was
listopada
also an
perła
incident
dostał
in
do
which she had attempted to take her
ile
life
razy
with a kitchen
inteligentnie
knife.
pije to już coś, ale Bobasek ma kuratora, bo jest bad boyem i gdyby... Idziesz wyrwać tą kartkę. No i musisz.
Fortunately, she simply passed out after drawing blood and the night watchman discovered her soon after.
Ty mówisz.
It got to a point where the master could not bear to see the madam grieving in this manner. Therefore he allowed her to overindulge. It's certainly a possibility. The master's mansion is quite large and has many different collections.
Jak ten twój kurator?
We gave up searching in a few areas due to risk that we would damage his collections.
You pull out the drawers and these bottles and
No, nie musiałeś wciągać przecież.
the door.
My guests, since Madame disappeared. Now,
You remember.
certainly.
Dobra, już tutaj chyba.
Once
My apologies. My lord tends to leave this room in this state and insists we leave it be. Please watch your step.
Immediately you are taken aback by the sprawling mess that is this bedroom.
O, ale słodziaki.
It looks much less like a bedroom and more like a testing facility that has been allowed the convenience of a grand bed among a few other commonplace items. The tables are littered with stacks of papers,
Plotko.
scrolls, and machinery that you haven't seen before.
The day after the accident occurred, my lord slowly began to use this space less and less. He eventually ended up moving into his study full-time. So, while the space itself hasn't been greatly disturbed since the
What's the stand for?
Do you mean that shelf? Well, the master was very excited when he got almost every day. He looks at that beautiful gemstone on the side of the shelf with a magnifying glass. It is as if he is enchanted by it. However, after realizing
Chyba muszę
that
te
he made
wiadomości
deposit
wysłać już, ale do kuratora twojego chyba muszę tak
he
zrobić.
deposited the gem in an underground vault.
Głos swojej babci.
I heard that
To
he
jest
also
urojenie.
hired a detective who solved many supernatural incidents.
Masz déjà vu?
And she will come here tomorrow.
Well, I hope she's easy to talk with. Let's get started. Partner, the sooner we finish, the sooner.
Don't worry. I have prepared rooms for the both of you.
Oh, we can't sleep in the same room. We are a good team after all. I'd rather stay by his side than let him get lost some.
Understood.
Let's get to work, partner.
Babci nie żyje od 7 lat. No mogą się domyślić tego szczerze. Dobra, kradnę. Teraz.
This corner seems to house files focused on gems lay spread across the floor. As if forgotten. You take a moment to look over them and find one that seems in.
Runa.
Before you sits a strange arrangement of brass coils stemming from a box of the same material. The box itself has many small holes, as if to serve as a means to attach these coils. As you lean over to examine it, you notice that the ends of the coils have a
Oblałam się
small metal needle at their end.
herbatą. Ja pierdolę. A ty mordo wiesz, Zekiers, czyli co ty mówisz? Nie rozumiem. Herbatą się oblałam. Niestety. Już taką... O!
The bookshelves,
Kurwa, no i mi chuj.
it looks like a radio, but it seems different whether modified beyond what
Ile
you're
dałam
used to or a
cukru?
model
Nie
from
wiem, po prostu
overseas.
wsypałam z tego. Po prostu wsypałam z tego, jak się nazywa? Z tego, no jak kurwa się to nazywa? Czekaj.
Gems lay spread across the floor.
Wiesz, tak z tego
You find
worka
a
na
framed
cukier,
hand-drawn
co się
sketch in the
kupuje.
drawer.
Po prostu wsypałem z tego.
From what you can make out, the sketch shows an immense Argugo
Nie,
stone,
nie idziesz
roughly
poprawić
10
trzecim
feet high and
blantem,
10
nie,
feet
już ci
diameters at the
wystarczy.
bottom, all covered in a
Jak
strange
słyszysz
and even
swoją babcię,
scale-like
która
texture.
umarła 7 lat temu, to już lepiej nie.
You don't know what it is, whether it's a machine or a living creature. You find a framed from. You don't.
Lepiej nie, po prostu lepiej nie. Nie, nie, nie! Kurwa. O, dobra, udało się.
While you understand that people have different perspectives. As your
Ja
eyes
nigdy nie
fall upon this
zapominam o
tragedy,
lusterku.
even in a room this torn up, you can't help but take a step back in concern.
Nigdzie nie idziesz.
The bed is covered in documents, books, and blueprints. The only shred of morality is that as you turn your attention to beneath the bed, you notice an aged and weathered document containing strange symbols as text. Upon a closer examination, below, you see the crossed out symbols that have been circled and marked as important.
Okej. Coś jeszcze?
Before you sit,
O, działa. W końcu działa.
as you look over the table, you once again feel a wave of dizzy. It seems that he's grown much more interested in collecting jewels than you previously As you take it in the sight for a moment, you notice a pattern spread on the top of the table and attempt to piece it together in your
No jak to nie? O, tak.
The pattern on the shelf catches your attention and you recall the knowledge base in your brain. You remember an article on ancient folklore, which seemed to be some kind of ritual paraphernalia, but you can't think of more.
Nigdy nie sądziłem,
This
że
is
będę...
an antique that my lord acquired. Though I do not know its at
Nigdy
this
nie
point,
sądziłem,
I
że
come to
będę
accept
grać w
his
grę
strange
o
fascinations.
Lovecrafcie,
I ask that you
ale
try
z anime
not to let
dziewczynkami.
me bother you.
I get it. Some rich folk really can be obsessed with
No
secrets
widzisz,
and mystery.
widzisz?
It's not like it's anything
O
uncommon.
kurwa. Ale dawno nikt nie odbierał tego. Ja cię. Dawno nikt tego nie odbierał.
At the very least I'll get some pictures to
20,
hopefully get
28?
some gain of this trade.
Dobra. Jak? 48. Bo widzę kurwa odstęp pomiędzy czym? Widokiem a... Nie wiem.
You
Nie
notice
widzę.
that the butler doesn't try to stop Saya. However, the moment Saya sets the camera into position, ready to take a picture,
What the hell is this?
she whips out a gun from her garter and shoots at the table.
O jest
Upon
kurwa.
firing her hand in, Saya seems to reflexively stumble back. She gasps and collapses to the floor. You would have never...
Lady Saya, what's the matter?
It's nothing. Nothing at all. There's something wrong with this table. I'd suggest telling Mr. Carter to get rid of it.
I will inform my lord.
Normally, you'd expect danger to go hand in hand with Saya. Whatever she witnessed must have been something that cut deeply.
Yes, but the master seems fine.
Na 2? Pojebało cię.
I will inform
Już
the
kompletnie
master of his
odlecisz.
problems as soon as possible.
Mysia, cześć. Mysia. Widzę cię.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
The butler nods and walks away, seemingly giving you... Saya seems to have settled down considerably.
Thank you for that. I'm feeling better now.
She hesitates for a moment before continuing. Once she visually confirms that the butler had left the room.
The house I saw through the camera lens is completely different from what it looks like now. The table itself does not exist, and the room is heavily
Na
distorted.
Discorda zerknąć? Już patrzę, już patrzę.
Everything around existed as complex shapes. It wasn't blurry or anything, but the details looked too complex for me to clearly detail. Everything gave off a sense of wanting to tear me to nothing and drag me away. It's hard for me to describe it that well. I'm sorry. I made you worry about me.
Ihihiha.
Please, follow me.
Snow, come back.
Snow runs away, with Saya chasing after her immediately.
Long time no see. Still a rascal as ever I.
Na ile?
You follow Saya to the garden, where the lights are on.
70 000
Snow
sekund?
is standing on the well in the middle.
Czekaj, muszę zobaczyć ile to jest. Kurwa jego mać. „19 godzin? O kurwa. 19 godzin.
Come here. Snow,
No tak,
that's
to
not the
prawda.
place for you
Bo
to
już
be
trochę
playing around.
odwalało mu.
Oh, where is the butler? We can't find the room without her.
You look behind you. For some reason, the butler isn't following you.
No.
Let's just wait here.
There are lights in the garden. You can see every flower clearly. Looking around, only the well is still dark, pitch black.
No to odleciał. O kurwa.
You see a strange mist. It creeps slowly as if it were alive, making you feel
Moment. Dibi dibi daba 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 daba.
as if you see something you shouldn't have seen. But you don't have time to pull your head back. There is a cold feeling behind you.
Oho. Kurwa mać. No, to prawda.
At this moment, you hear a strange voice. No, it's not that strange, but you can't believe it. It's someone's voice, like an exclamation or surprise. That thing is surprised by your reaction. Then you hear a word clearly off, and the voice goes away. You feel as if a cold hand has touched your neck. It's like an indication, or a warning.
O,
What happened? I didn't find anything abnormal in this short time.
Why did you suddenly come so far? I almost couldn't respond.
o.
Snow almost fell into the well, but we're fine now.
I see. It's good that you are fine. This well was found by my lord before he built the mansion. Something may have happened before, but I don't know the details. Only the lord is keen to explore these mysterious events.
Is there water in this well? How deep is it?
Not sure. It was abandoned long ago. Nobody uses it.
You see the butler frown.
Well, I'm too old to stay up late. It's getting late now. Follow me to the room for...
Knowing that the well... Although it's very dark outside,
Mogę
you're
sprawdzić
still
jeszcze.
keenly aware that there are many small cracks on the inner edge of the well.
Eros sobie
Hard to notice.
biega. Cześć, Eros. Cześć. Hej. Misie sobie funkcjonują. Kurwa mać, co się dzieje? Czemu? Co się odjebało? Halo, dobra, o. Już.
These cracks clearly did not exist before. They interlock like blood vessels. A black liquid begins to leak from the cracks, flowing outward along the well.
Kocham was, widzowie. Baldzio. No i co się dzieje? Czemu mam tak nagle... O, teraz kites jest. I'm doomed. On?
The small device displays the name Carter. You begin to hear a strange sound play from within the device. It's an odd sound that almost sounds
Gacha
like
life,
something
Harry.
screeching.
Super.
It
Gacha
sounds
life.
like a language, but you can't
dziękuję.
understand the words themselves. It feels like it carries a wave of energy that feels you natural. The voice begins to make you sway. You begin to feel an emotion from the voice. It sounds like a person asking for help.
Help us!
The sudden words break your trance. You slowly begin to come to your senses. Whose voice was that?
Wasn't the Jimmy Carter.
Ahead of you watches a beast-like creature form from purples and greens.
Nie wierzę, że
It
Jimmy
seems
Carter
to almost
tam
draw the
sobie.
very stars into its form. You feel as though your very soul has been pierced by an invisible You are unable to move no matter how much you struggle. You feel like prey that had fallen into a predator's trap. The creature slowly makes its
Co to jest?
You feel as though your life is about to end.
Miał.
Then you hear the soft
Jezu, ja
meow
myślałem,
of
że
a
to
cat.
binda puściliście, a to chyba w grze, a to w grze było.
A strange sensation surges into your flesh. It feels as though you are being healed, without the tenderness of relief. Instead, you feel a
Jezu.
primal energy pour into your soul.
Medicine, Constitution. To jest. Tomboy na
Może
super.
ty kurwa miałeś lagi, jak mówiłem, że wpierdolę cię we mnie komik! Na razie.
Na razie.
Pain racks through you, but you feel in control of yourself. All you can process is a need to run or fight. In the meantime, you once again find yourself at the edge of the well. Saya immediately notices and rushes over to you. It feels as though she's trying to ask you something. But your mind feels exhausted. It feels as though the world itself is collapsing. Guest room.
Guest room.
The butler led you into the guest room, leaving once she's confirmed that you've settled in. Saya takes a seat near the edge of your bed. She takes out her various weapons and briefly looks them over as if cautious. As she is in the midst of looking over her handgun, she yawns and lays down on the edge of the bed. All this time, you've been asleep. You find yourself in a dark abyss. The blood curdles.
Obraz. Skipa.
The
Nie obchodzi mnie to. Speczek.
You wake up sweating, as your heart feels as though it's about to beat out of your chest.
A ja.
Keep quiet.
Saya, realizing that you've woken up, nods towards the doorway and raises her finger in caution.
There's something going on outside.
You hear the sound of footsteps outside the door. At first it sounds as if it's coming from just outside the door, then far away, then both. It's both strange and hard to comprehend.
Co się dzieje? O mój Boże, mam współpracę z monsterkiem. Ja cię kręcę.
Don't turn on the light. The light may attract that unknown creature.
Unknown
Don't turn on
creature?
the light may attract.
You carefully creep up to the edge of the doorway, careful to avoid the small edge of light leaking through. You look out through the peephole, only to see a small empty. It seems that they keep the corridor light on during the night as the sky outside is still dark. You attempt to catch any sounds from outside the door.
Jezus, okropne wyniki mam, niskie strasznie. No i trójka! Ja pierdolę. O, to się udało.
As you listen, you hear a set of footsteps in the hallway. The sound soon fades into the wandering corridor. You take a moment to catch your breath. But as you do, you see the small crack in the doorway suddenly growing larger and larger, ever so faintly.
No fajnie by
You
było.
feel an eerie sensation wrap over you. As you enter on the edge of consciousness, you hear a whisper. It doesn't sound like any form of language you know. It is completely beyond your knowledge. As the whisper begins to fade, you begin to feel kittens surrounding you, all mowing. As you come back to your senses, you quickly realize your heart rate is abnormally fast. It's difficult to breathe, and your face is burning up. While you can't be sure what you heard, you realize it had an impact on your direct being. You begin to understand what this whisper is. It's almost a call of sorts. Something is calling you, calling your name. And then your hallucinations begin to expand. Like growing moss, like fermented wine. You see many cats in front of you. You know them. They surround you, mowing with warmth, striving to please you. Everything in the illusion is still so virtual and wonderful. You feel a wave of dizziness come over you. You trip into the wall, plummeting onto the cold. It feels loving almost. The last edge of your consciousness begins to slip and you fall asleep. Saya wakes up first.
A co w ogóle próbowałem czytać tego, to Acehomo. Jezus Maria, jak to się ciężko czyta, ja pierdolę.
Seeing you lying on the floor with her, she understands the situation quickly.
Partner, it's time to work.
After Saya wakes you up, you take a moment to calm your mind. Once, Saya puts on a serious look and analyzes slowly.
W sensie,
Seems like a certain
jedyne
power
chyba
is
takie
protecting
trudności to miałam z taką rzeczy Zaratustra, z jego książkami.
We could have gone missing just like the madam. Well, it is necessary to talk with Carter properly. But for now, let's go to the ballroom first. The butler told me yesterday that there will be a grand banquet. We should feast on dishes we've never seen before. Don't worry so much. Say, carpe diem.
Carpe diem.
Let's go.
Carpe diem.
You see that Saya has found a young girl in the middle of the corridor.
Whoa.
This girl's hair is a beautiful sea blue. Her skin pale but seemingly not for a lack of being outside often. She wears a short white skirt and a deep gray jacket. She is the...
Hello there.
Ładno.
Are you the detectives that just arrived the other day?
Who are you? Rather, more importantly, what do you want?
The girl's ears, almost visible, perk up upon hearing Saya's voice. She takes a quick hop forward and hugs Saya instantly without any concern.
My name's Sherry. I was also asked to come here and help out with the investigation. What's your name?
As you approach, you catch a familiar scent on the girl. Like perfume, no. You know you've even recently known this scent. To process it, the less focused you become.
The name's Saya. I'm here for that investigation as
Cepo,
well.
jesteśmy chyba sami tutaj na streamie.
You also introduced yourself and complimented Sherry's
Chyba.
appearance. The girl is very happy to hear you praise her beauty, but she seems to prefer to stick to
Dziewczyna jesteś, bo mi pokazywało na programie, że ciebie nie ma. Więc ja takie, aha.
Thanks. Was there a reason you came
Myślałem,
to
że
find us?
jesteśmy tylko sami, ale fajnie, że jesteś też. Na programie...
Wanted to introduce
Na
myself.
programie było pokazane, że ciebie nie ma. Jakby ja nie wiem.
Ace wrote to me, seeking my assistance with the current situation. For clarity, Ace is the blonde lady keeping this mansion in one
No nie skaczemy sobie do gardeł, spokojnie.
Sherry then went on to introduce herself as a college student majoring in archaeology. You recall that the butler from the other day, or this Ace, had mentioned that paranormal expert would arrive today.
I see. Would you mind letting go of me? Oh, I'm so sorry. I heard that you already encountered some paranormal Would you mind sharing what happened? What the what? Time travel? Is it something that can't be
Jezu,
seen?
czy one
I
mogą
think so.
przestać
At
gadać?
that time I was physically exhausted, so I didn't know what was going on there. That's a shame.
Nie.
Anyway, it's already 8 o'clock. How about having... That sounds great. I'm starving.
Nie. No i tutaj, na użytkownikach na czacie, to już jesteś. Na programie ciebie nie ma.
An etiquette mirror.
Nie to! A pierdolę. Masakra. O, dobra, w końcu.
You see the mist in the mirror and making it difficult for you to see the picture. And then, the mist is approaching you.
No i chuj.
You see a mist attached to the glass and a figure emerges from the glass in front of you. Through the reflection of the mirror in the hallway, you see a man dressed as a servant swiping his card and sneaking into the study room and then running out of it in a panic with
Help us.
Sanityczek. Oj chuj. Oj chuj.
You arrive at the banquet hall as
A jak
Ace
się
seems to be
czujecie?
directing the other staff in preparing for tonight.
Ja się czuję
Sherry rushes up to her,
tylko że mi
almost
spać chce,
pouncing on her.
kurwa. Już
I
spałem
see
przed
you two have
streamem.
awoken. Was your rest pleasant?
Sets down her notebook, seemingly prioritizing your arrival or just realizing that she won't get much more done with Sherry.
Ciężko
It would
jest.
seem you have questions for me.
Brzuch wybucha.
Ask away. I'm happy to assist as I can.
Have you seen my cat? Snow was gone when I got up.
Unfortunately, I have not. I'll ask the house staff to search for her.
Hakerko? Bez kitu.
Last I attempted to find him. He didn't answer my call. I don't know where he is currently.
Did you notice anything strange in the hallway last night?
I too all to be working late these days. After I delivered you to your quarters, I went to rest myself. I can't say I saw or heard anything out of the ordinary.
Film oglądany za 4 VPN-ów, to Rafe jest maszyny wizualne postawione na komputerze w botnecie z Singapuru. Więc... Bez kitu.
Upon hearing the phrase first aid,
I can do it. Does anyone need treat?
you briefly take a doubtful look at Sherry and
Literalnie
unfortunately
tak.
Eli she notices. Her cheeks puff up angrily as she turns
Ja
to
nie
the
wiem.
butler.
HM.
Nie wierzę, Leszczyna, czy ty jesteś
What do you
AI?
mean by that? How dare they doubt me? Ace, testify.
Ace looks like she's basically given up on this conversation.
Where do I even begin? Well, it's complicated. But she's
Nie
indeed
wierzę.
experienced. Well, please allow me to retire from this conversation
O, heja
first.
Morawiecki, co tam? Co tam jak tam?
There is an important exhibition today, and there's still much to get done.
Then let's enjoy the food first too.
A jakoś?
agree to.
A co tam porobiałeś? A u mnie spoko. Czytałem książkę. Byłam w Żabce dzisiaj. No jest, jakoś jest. O, dziadek. O, Boże, Boże. O. The lady. Fast spell. Nie. Diplomacji. Oj chuj. No i kaplica. A ty? Oj to nie, to też tym bardziej nie dasz rady.
You glance at the table and see a oil-sealed duck, foie gras, escargot, pancakes, mussels in a pot, beef bourguignon, soup, beef and
Jesus.
vegetables.
Wow.
You glance at the
Mogę jeszcze raz?
soup.
Nie mogę. A mogę
You
tu?
glance at blowfish.
Sashimi. Mogę. Jest. Dobra. Idę żreć. No gdzie? No nie mogę zażreć.
You glance at the
Dobra. Uleczyłam się. To jest w ogóle. Trail. No zajebiście. No to mi się trafiło. Ładna gra, podoba mi się. Bardzo fajna, bardzo ładna jest. Myszy, co
the
wy
flower beds
robicie?
are very tidy.
Wow.
It is a black car and you're not sure if it is the same one that attacks you in the
Nie
illusion.
wiem, słyszę dźwięki jakieś, ale nie widzę ich.
But the white crystal in front of the car attracts your notice. You look at it unconsciously and you feel your soul is absorbed by it.
Wow.
You sit in a black car and you see a black figure sitting in the driver's seat. And it is madness.
Although it
No,
will
ale
succeed
chyba
if it is
spoko u mnie, chyba
I
spoko.
will send you to a world that you dream of. She will not understand me.
Dlaczego miałoby
But
nie
you
być
will
spoko? No i znowu mnie wygięło. Dobra. Żyję. Wow.
Then the shadow stepped on the accelerator hard and the car ran quickly along the street, followed by the scene you experienced before.
Jezu,
The
co mnie
girl
tak
was
na
twisted
ziewanie
and
wzięło?
broken
To
by the
jest.
huge impact force and then fell heavily to the ground. The car
Masakra.
stopped after sliding for a few meters. And the black shadow rushed towards the girl frantically.
Although this is not possible, you should have successfully traveled through time.
However, there is no response and the girl's pupils have already diverged. But you, in the car, see a vague white figure appearing in front of you. Are about to speak, but suddenly there are countless slender arms in the car. They grab your limbs,
Dobra,
cover
już
your
piję.
mouth, cover your eyes, and you quickly pass out. You wake up from the hallucination with a sharp tingling in your brain.
Ach. No i napita jest.
You look down and find that the white crystal you saw before has come to rest within your palm.
Wow. Okradam ludzi. Dziadek sobie już nie pochodzi. Dziadek sobie nie pochodzi już. Co to? Ja Wow. Niesamowite. Dziadek, ty nie umiesz pisać. Mogę spróbować. Lunatic symptom. Fajnie. No i tak lepiej piszesz od perły, no. To prawda. Oj, to prawda. Nie. To wyczyn jest. To akurat nie jest trudne pisać ładnie od perły. To nie jest akurat wyczyn. Co ty tak?
There's a ghost. Why? Why do I have to do the cleaning today?
O kurwa. Tut! Czemu miałbym strzelać do niej? Halo, miałam 0-0! Ja pierdolę, dobra, ostatni raz próbuję. Kurwysyny. Nie wiem, gdzie ona ducha widziała.
The freshly renovated soil and the surrounding flowers seemed
Ja tylko zaprowadzone wczoraj odpowiadam historię celu na środku chodniku i zamiast ciętą oporowią romansowa. Romansowa cegła na środku chodnika, wow.
paradoxically. The leaves of the bushes here turned gray.
Bye bye.
It was as
Miego
you
myju
always
myju.
feel as if it's saying something to Paradox.
Co ja zbieram? Jakieś kurwa pasty.
The flower beds are very tidy and there are some
Wow, czterolistna kończyna, nie wierzę. Jezu, ile tego? Kurwa, co to jest? Herb. Craft. Mogę coś skraftować? Rozumiem wszystko, co tam było napisane. No wiem, co to znaczy! Oj chuj. Oj chuj. Ty mnie nie poprawiaj, dziadek. Wow. Kraftowałam. Można bez skilli? No można bez skilli. Ale większość to właśnie trzeba kurwa ze skillami. Masakra. Dobra, nie. Zobaczę, co tu jest, bo tu jest puste tam.
It seems that they've yet to display
Dobra. Idę sobie pochodzić jeszcze. To bardzo ładnie zrobiona gra. Bardzo mi się podoba. Ale zapierdolę rzeczy.
This is an old box that holds This is an old box.
Kurwa. Potrzebuję karty. Dajcie mi ją. Dajcie mi tą kartę. Dajcie mi ją. Gestrum. A to nasz pokój, to nie. Mogę coś tu zrobić jeszcze? O mać. Chyba nic. Chyba nici. Zrobienia czegokolwiek tutaj.
Within this case, it's simple as
To nie
as you
było,
linger.
jakbym mogła tu zapierdolić.
Speaking of which, Sharon, well,
Dobra, nie. O, mogę sobie zjeść w końcu. Nie mogę!
I'm a little concerned about who attacked us last night, just in case. I'm going to look around a little. It won't be a good idea to have too many people by my... That sounds like a plan too.
Dun, 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 dun. Bida, bada, bada, bida. Nie, przepraszam. Oszalałem. Wait for to rejoin you. View. No, mogę poczekać.
A short moment later, Saya opens the door to the room, and Sherry follows in behind.
I've gathered some information as well. My first conclusion is that the request from Carter was an excuse at all. He didn't want to cause more trouble, but he had to give an explanation to the servants of the mansion, especially not during his busiest time of the police will get in his way. So he asked us to come and go through the motion, but we don't know what he's up to yet.
Jezu, jutro jeszcze do sklepu muszę iść, ja pierdolę. Tragedia.
There is another important thing. Sherry, why don't you tell your partner?
I hope you are ready to.
As you wonder what they're talking about, you watch as suddenly a
Czemu
tail
ona ma
sprouts from
ogon
Sherry's
kota?
rear and a pair of furry cat.
Kuracem jest.
Saya's watching you from behind, almost holding back a laugh as she watches your reaction.
More than 10 years ago, Ace and I
O mój
followed
Boże,
a
kot.
scientific research team into an ancient ruin. There, we met with an accident. Ampere hours. I do not remember exactly, but the result is that only me and Ace came out. After that I became like this and my memory blurred. My
No,
body
fajne,
has
bardzo
remained
ładne.
the same as it was then. This time, Ace also asked me to come here to help me.
In short, Sherry is the person who helped us last night.
Guess we'll have to find
O
out.
kurwa. Nie wierzę. 4 to jest Snow.
Well, you seem to take it fast. Not bad.
Pojebano.
There's always a plan B if you went crazy.
Wait, someone's here.
At that moment, someone knocks the door.
Dear guests, Ace has asked me to tell you. His lordship is back and is currently at the banquet hall, waiting for you.
Without waiting for a response, there was the sound of the maid's footsteps.
Let's go. Time for the final show.
O! Choose battle. Team or reverse. Reverse. Oj, będzie walka chyba tutaj, no. Oj, będzie walka chyba.
Good evening, my dear attendees. My apologies that I kept you all waiting. And thank you for attending tonight's exhibition.
Carter begins to introduce each exhibit
Jimmy
to the guests,
Carter?
giving each a brief overview on
museum.
how he acquired them, their history, and his personal thoughts on them. The guests seem awestruck by his collection, enthralled by the grandeur of not only being Noel Ed Gable about his... As he concludes introducing the various exhibits across the hall, he takes a moment to take a deep breath, his hands supporting his forehead. The audience goes quiet with anticipation.
However, my dear friends, these artifacts are worth less than even 1/10,000th the value of the next item. Allow me to introduce the most valuable piece of my collection, the Saladinate.
The curtain behind Carter rises, as the suspense drew the crowd's focus evermore. The Sola Dinit sits there in the case, its eternal majesty proclaiming throughout the room. You can't take your eyes off the gem, as if it holds all of your desires. Those around you seem to be even more drawn in than you are as you lose track of time and feel yourself almost transversing to another world.
Again, everyone, I'd like to express my gratitude to you all for these relationships I hold with each of you are ones that I hope you can achieve with. Please enjoy yourselves and make this an evening to remember.
Carter raises the glass in his hand, and the servants around bring the glass to you.
O kurwa, dobra, daj to. O. O chuj. Ale co? Failure. Success. Success.
Your mind snaps back to reality.
This is some success.
As you shake off the strange haze clouding your mind, you notice that the servant in front of you has tensed up, even beyond what you'd consider it. As you take a closer look, you notice purple liquid beginning to pool and leak from his ears, as if his brain had rotted away.
Damn Carter.
Thank you for your patience, my dear attendees. This is my last gift to you all. For tonight will be one to remember.
Co jest?
You see an unusually unrecognizable color begin to apparate. An almost lifelike phosphorescence emerges into the space. As you feel it emit a sense of dread simply by existing. You notice Ace looking in your direction from the other side of the room. As you lock eyes with her, she nods towards the doorway and swiftly leaves.
We should get going. It seems Carter is beginning to act.
Wait, we should follow Ace. She knows what to do.
Wyjebane. No, halo. Chciałem iść. Co? O kurwa. Halo. Chciałbym... Chyba nie, ty jesteś do ataku bardziej. Complete. A ty jesteś chyba od magii. Nie jesteś od magii? To czym ty jesteś? Rake. A, ona jest pistolet strzela. Dobra. O bogowie walczą. No. No i pięknie. O bogowie walka.
You run all the way to the parking lot. However, the sight before your eyes shocked you. The cars parked in the parking lot are rusted and useless. They seem to have been idle here for many years and haven't been maintained at all.
Ace, where are you? Ace.
I can't handle that much anymore. We have to leave right here.
Co tu się dzieje? New Dimension. Mogę wrócić, czy nie mogę? Mogę. Kurwa, i mnie złapała. Ja pierdolę. Tu sobie wykastuj spela. Zaatakuj. No dobra, wiem, że nie masz speli. A ty strzelaj. O! I zajebiście. No nie! Kurwa mać! Pierdoli mnie. Rake. Zajebista jest też... Ajo. Victory. A. Dobra, czyli musimy znaleźć wyjście. Dobra. No to uciekamy chyba. Yes. New dimension.
You left Carter's manor. But what appears before you after leaving the mansion is not the road you are familiar with.
No, This is definitely not the way I remember.
Saya, I am so afraid. Something is staring at us.
The attack of a long spear in front swept across and the light lit up. A figure with a burning green flame
co
appeared.
to jest?
Its eyes looked indifferent to the world around it. It turned and stared.
Did you escape?
Wow. Ale ładna.
That being the case, see you in the next world line.
O! Coś tu nie poszło po mojej myśli. Chyba coś nie poszło po mojej myśli. Ej! Co jest? Rapid shot. No target. Wow. No ona jest OP, ona jest zajebista. Bang, bang, bang. Jakoś musi być inne wyjście. No i chuj. No i kaplica. Jezu, moja postać is so fucking ass.
This is an old bot.
Kurwa, i musiała mnie złapać. Dobra, jeszcze 21 przycisków na to. Wystarczy. A tu jest... Nie. Co? Okej. Up action. Heal. Nice. Nie wiem kto ma, ale kurwa mać. Oj, się udało. Nie wierzę. Mogę jakiś wytrych zrobić? Driver, saw, torch, alcohol, rune, throwing knife, dagger, chainsaw, baseball, machete, woodbow. O kurwa, chyba nie ma. Cardiotic stimulant. To mi się podoba. To mi się podoba.
An etiquette mirror.
Co ja mam zrobić teraz? Nie przydałoby się wyjść na zewnątrz.
It seems that
Kurwa. I chuj. Chuj dupa cipa, chuj dupa cipa, chuj dupa cipa, chuj dupa cipa. Przepraszam. Idę myju. Bye bye, miłego mycia, nie utop się tam. Critical success. No i super. Pokonałem ich.
You glance. Blow.
Idealny czas na jedzenie. Ale jak się... Kurwa. Ach, pierdolę. Ochujeje, ochujeje. Break. Dobra, czyli musimy... Wtedy, że musimy najpierw pokonać te moby i dopiero wtedy możemy podejść do tego. Jezu, ona zabija wszystkich na shota, nie wierzę. Find the exit now. Ale exit... Nie wydaje mi się, żeby exit... Mystycyzm. Ona jest okultyzm. Udało się.
You focus on the gemstone. Your mind feels as though it's been dragged to the deep dregs of space and you begin to have inst ICU tally.
Nie! 8 mam sanity. Ja pierdolę.
You snap back to reality. You
Flame Worshipper? Co? Co to znaczy? Flame Worshipper. Altruizm. Histerię mam. O mój Boże. Histeria. Flame Worshipper. Passive when Histerię to ja mam.
You run all the way to the parking lot. How? The cars parked in the parking lot are rusted and useless.
Ace, where are you? Ace, I can't handle that much anymore.
No i chyba teraz możemy tam podejść, I guess. A jednak nie. Find the exit now. No ale nie ma tu nigdzie wyjścia.
It seems that they've yet to display any.
Ale tu nie ma wyjścia nigdzie. Ty, to się świeci.
Within this case it's simple. As you linger around it, you get the odd sensation of something looking back at you.
Aha, myślałem, że to ze
Before you
fokusem gem. Uda się? Udało się.
you feel your mind, whatever it actually is, it's heavily overgrown.
Lunatic symptom.
You wake up and find a leaf sitting in your hand. For some reason you feel like you understand what this is.
I co? Nie to. Ja podniosłam. Nie, czekaj. Gdzie to jest? A to. Leaf of the Green God. Aha. Mogę z...
Within this glass case, you
A to?
It seems that within this case,
Melting Sun. Dobra, może jeszcze to zabijemy? Nie, zastanawiam się właśnie, Co mam zrobić? Bo nie wiem trochę zbytnio. Bo jak pójdę w tamten na zewnątrz, no to mi kurwa przegram wtedy. Więc nie wiem, co mam zrobić.
You glance at
Tu nie byłam jeszcze, więc lepiej. No. Change this monster now. Ale nie rozumiem. Save. Dobra, pójdźmy tam. Może coś będzie. Material. O, akumulator ukradłem. Zajebiście.
You left Carter's manor.
No, this is
No to nie.
some
No to nie jest to co tam.
The attack of a figure with a burning.
did you escape? That being the case. See you.
Ale... Nie rozumiem. Co ja mam tu zrobić? Pojebane. Okno. No, okno nie. Tam nie podejdę. Bo nie. Jakbym tak zrobiła takie nitpick, nie da się. Chciałam. Find the exit now. No ale żeby miałam exit. Halo. Gdzie mam tylko 6 HP? Ej. Czemu ja mam tylko 6 HP? Halo. Nie podoba mi się. Dobra. No musi tu coś być, no musi. Musi. Nie mogę wyważyć drzwi albo coś. Aha. Zajebista akcja. Nie wiem. Ale nie mogę. Loada mi nie wypada. Właśnie... Nie wiem o co chodzi. Może coś jest na zewnątrz, czego nie widziałam, albo coś. Może coś jest. O!
You
Jest!
find that the ground behind the vehicle is a thick metal plate. Surprisingly, there is a card lock on the metal plate that is the same.
Jest!
Within the passage lays a winding tunnel.
Jest w takim
You
miejscu,
follow it
że...
deeper and deeper, until at last you find yourself in a small room.
This is the map in which Carter detailed an alternative form of leaving the premises of the manor.
You watch Ace hand the map to Sherry.
This whole area is currently in an isolated space. You'll need to follow the path on the map if you wish.
Ace, what about you?
Ace merely shakes her head in response to Sherry's question.
I prefer to not see you meet your end here. I have things to do. I don't have the capacity to take care of you currently.
Sherry takes a look at the map, then another at Ace as she walks away. You feel her anxiety well up. She hesitates for a brief moment, then thrusts the map against Saya's waist.
Hurry up and get out of here. I need to take care of something. Though, I have to do it on my own. I know it's dangerous, but I need to. I've already ran away once when everyone on the scientific expedition team said this time. I can't just leave. Ace is planning to stop Carter and I want to help her. This is something I must do. But you don't need to get.
Sherry takes a deep breath and looks at you. Wait.
Jezu! Jane Shire action. Dobra.
Carter's games end here. It's time to collect this debt. Thank you. Thank you. Guys. Quickly. We have to follow Ace.
Super.
A strange container sits on the center of the table. It seems to be emitting some. Next to the container, they look like small canisters, but contain a substance you've never seen before.
Co to jest? Co ja podniosłam? Manakan. O kurwa. Equip. Uuu. Nieźle. Nowe zaklęcia.
An abnormal purple light cluster blocks the way. This is by no means a simple opponent. You are ready.
Jeszcze nie. Moment, bo ona mi chyba dała kartę. Czy nie dała karty? Nie wiem, już sam muszę sprawdzić. Jednak nie dała, dobra. Dobra. Let's go. 40 HP ma, o kurwa. O kurwa. Dobra. Co tu dostałam? Blessing of Blade. The Creator Mythical Blade Capture Foundering. Dobra, mogę stworzyć. Nie ma żadnych spellów? No nie masz, no. No ciekawe czy trafisz to tym pistoletem. Nie zadało damage'a. Nie zadało damage'a. Co się stało? I co teraz mam ten... Kurważ, uniknął. Jaki pisk? Nie masz żadnych spelli, zajebiście. To nie był pisk. Głuchość to bez przesady. O, dobra, tak się zadaje damage. Rozumiem. O, ty masz skille jakieś te. O. Withering. Fear side hit. First aid kit here. Dobra. To jest. 16. Wow. No co? O czym ty mówisz? Co ty mówisz? Jaki ty masz problem niby? No, słyszałam, ale to nie było głośne. O kurwa, umarła. First kit. Dobra, zrobimy tak. Dziadek, bo ty oszalejesz zaraz. Tak, będzie, już. Już? Dodge. O Boże, co ja mam z tym dziadkiem? Kurwa, ile jeszcze można? Pierdolę. Jak dobrze, dziadek? Jezu, musiałem praktycznie całkowicie grę wyciszyć, żeby nasz dziadzia nie płakał. Nie wierzę. No, teraz mogę Uszka bolały? Tak, tak. Tak, tak, tak.
I know you guys want to chase Carter, right? Don't worry. I don't intend to stop you. I've just been waiting here to talk to you briefly. Have you seen Carter's research notes, the ones left on the desk in the safe room? If you did, you must know that he is chased by something, whatever that thing is. It has its eyes on Carter, but even if he dies it likely won't leave. It would linger on our planet until it loses, which as you can imagine, would be a disaster.
Chyba nie chcesz, dziadek, wiedzieć, co cię jeszcze będzie bolało.
I can't just go and save shit. Our only real option is to use Carter to lure it away. If Carter were to die in another space or realm than this, it might draw the creature away. That's really all I wanted to say. While it might be tough to accept,
Jajco.
I believe you understand
Nie
the
interesuj się.
situation.
My ci puszczy Rabbit Meat Factory.
I doubt you intend to just let Sherry die though, and you likely don't plan on letting. So leave now or kill Carter. What are you going to do?
Ace, I can understand your concerns, but I understand the situation. Let's go.
Saya reacts instantly by popping the back of her gun up to check her bullets briefly. Ace seems to understand her intention, but appears almost in. She doesn't stop you. Instead just shakes her head and walks away.
Jezu, jak ja kocham robić Meat Factory, ja pierdzielę.
Yo, look who's here. I didn't expect you to come here alive. And what? It's all over. Do you still want to stop?
Carter is
Of course too.
He looks at you with a smug, arrogant attitude. Like he has found the perfect audience.
Zobacz, herbatę zrobiła, ja
This
pierdzielę.
is my best and perfect plan. To be honest, the experiment failed in the first place. I have lost too many people. Even Olu, my daughter.
No ale nie teraz, no.
Luckily, I didn't, since the attack of Eve cannot help me to.
Nie będę wam iść robić herbaty jak streama mam. Bez przesady.
And good luck will always favor those who work hard, and opportunities will always open the door. So I found this gem. A gem that has the power to peek into space and time. That's all I did. Now I'll use Mercury to protect myself. The miracle of Daloth is on my side. And add some power used to charm the god. Passages in. That thing will come at any time. At the moment when space-time are torn apart, I can use this power to leave to the distant past or to the future. No one can hunt me. Haha, no one can.
Gradually, he begins to laugh wildly. It is not like the sound that a normal person would make. And you can hear a bit of mania in his.
You just want to run away. Why are you trying to sound all high and mighty? You must be scared. You sacrificed so many innocent, just so that you could live.
Me? Am I living for myself? N.O. N.O.
Carter's face begins to
N.O.
distort as he stares fiercely at Saya. All at once any grace he had collapses. In Carter's shout, the deep well in the middle of the garden suddenly trembled, emitting a frightening brilliant light. Countless streamers rushed to the sky. And at this moment, Carter waved his big hand and lifted Sola D knit flat in front of him.
Ha 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 ha. Farewell.
Perfekt. Czekajcie. O chuj.
Who are you? That thing cannot kill me. Impossible. Unless. Ha ha ha. Tindalos. You are Tindalos.
Tindalos. Czekaj, Tindalos? No nie wygląda podobnie z tego to ten, jak w oryginale, ale też spoko.
Carter is laughing wildly at you.
Ha 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 ha. You will die.
Carter's laughter fades from your ears. Sherry seemed to think of something when she heard what Carter said. She was shaking, but she was standing between you and that being. You heard Sherry's trembling voice, shouting at you anxiously.
You guys run now. They are the Tindalos. The thing that you meet before. Its power less than a 10 million of their power.
Worms have no right. I shall bestow upon you a preordained death.
Niesamowite. O, ile masz HP? Co ty to? Ja pierdolę. Daj to, this profile. A ty strzel może do niej? Nie wiem. Ona pierwsza. To co to ma być? Halo! Ja pierdolę. Jezus Maria, to jest tragedia. A już, no. Fajne, fajne. Fajniutkie. Nie no, fajne, no fajne, no. Fajne. Troll. No, 20% szansy. Ja pierdolę. Och. Zajebiście. Mogę strzelić do niej? No i chuj, o. A nie, jednak można do tam. Pojebane, pojebane. List of proof. No i chuj, zabita. Jednak nie. Wow. Oj chuj. Oj, wszyscy mamy po jednym HP praktycznie. O kurwa. Bariera. O. Dobra, nie udało jej się. Znaczy, nie trafiła. Zajebiście, fajnie, fajnie. Powder. Nie chcę rzucać tym. O Boże, Boże. Dobra, chyba to jedyna opcja. I guess. Mam nadzieję, że się nie trafi. A jednak trafiła. Kurwa mać. Pojebało. Oj chuj. Ciężkie, ciężkie. Ciężkie się trafiło. No, ja pierdolę! Dobra, chuj.
Are you finally no longer hiding?
Tindelos, I know your target is me. It is inconvenient for you and me to use power here.
Escape. Oh, what a fool prick.
That existence has left. The huge power lingering in this space is slowly fading and the false manner to crumble. After a while,
O,
you gradually
ładne.
regained consciousness and saw Sherry sleeping sweetly in the car. And Saya is standing in front of you and talking to you.
The disaster has ended. However, I'm not sure what happened in the end, but the culprit has vanished. Although this gem has lost its ability, it is definitely worth.
A, już koniec tego. Imię nastroju.
Everything after that is like watching flowers at a glance. Your consciousness seems to be When you wake up, you find you seem missing some memory. You don't remember when you left the town. But when you see Saya and Sherry chatting with each other, the joy of life after the catastrophe and the sense of release after the pressure will make your brain clear. Saya and Sherry are still discussing what to eat today. And now you just want to relax for a moment. You fantasize that you will soon be surrounded by delicious food.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Film. No i spoko. No i spoko. Spoko. Spoko.
Ha, you don't know how to fight. But you still have to make trouble. Beaten like this. And ask me to end it. How capable you are. Toll. I've brought back, but don't expect me to fix it.
Well, let me take it from here. If Star Key were torn apart by the power of Pendelos, I definitely cannot rebuild it again. Thank you so much this time.
Ha, it's good that you know it.
A Forgomon throws you to Sothoth. And then return. You wake up. But when you see the worried look in Sothoth's eyes, Sothoth says to you after he saw that you have regained some consciousness.
Indalos. Slaying a traveler day observe the team. Aha. Jezu, te ich nazwy są tak ciężkie do czytania.
Sorry, I didn't take the right action.
Traveling in the chaotic space-time would be accompanied by great danger. I knew it from the very beginning. Now, have a good rest.
All of a sudden, after a long time, the library is restart. And you're...
Jezu.
Are you done? If you have something to say. If it is just some useless thanks. You can go and fuck off.
A Forgaman, I want you to help.
Funny. Why should I help you?
No
Because
wiem.
I figure out one thing.
Wiem.
The things you've done before is reasonable.
Oh. You mean, you agree with my idea?
Afrogomon.
We have the ability to mend the chaos in space-time. However, the resources needed for this repair come with their own. The fact remains that we can never completely eliminate this consumption. In the end, all things inevitably return to nothingness.
Sure, that's interesting. You finally realize your works are useless.
That's right. We are like a prisoner in the prison, waiting for the destruction. Those lives who don't have eternal life just cannot feel the existence of it. But for you, you stand at the end of time. This prison is more like a chain that has been wrapped around you all the time. So I want to help you to break the prison.
They seemed to hear the funniest thing that they ever heard and couldn't help to stop laughing. After a long time, you heard a sigh.
Even the once complete me cannot break the cage. And with the current power you have, why do you think you can help me?
Indeed, I cannot help you, but now I found my way and what I need to do. I will try to reach the target. At the end of the road, everything will return to their own being. At that time, we will create a new world.
Fine. Fine. I got it. If you encounter tough enemies in time travel, I will help you.
Spoko. Your partner. Aha. Sherry nie mam odblokowanej. Jezu. Projekt. Może bym sobie wymaksowała tą grę? Bo fajna jest, podoba mi się. Ale nie na streamie oczywiście, bo to by zajęło wieczność. Ten, 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 ten. Learn. Puppy love. Nie mam pieniędzy. Pojebało. Kurwa. Ja pierdolę. Perception. No ja pierdolę. Tragedia. Ale mogę spróbować jeszcze raz. No kurwa! Pierdolę. Nie. E-time. Find yourself. Make money. Wow, nie wiedziałem, że jest taki nawet. One nie mają. Energetic. Rail. Normal. No zajebiście. Czekaj. Ja bym stworzyła może postać nową. Custom. Ile? Dobra, zróbmy customową. Egoizm, hatred, atheism, vanity, egoizm, antisocial, paranoid. Disaster delusion, to będzie dobre. Myślę, że Disaster Delusion byłoby fajne. O kurwa, dobra. Dobra, czy tu jest jakiś ten... Czekaj, który jest pod magię? Damage. Mogę tak zrobić. Dodge. Nie umierać tak łatwo. Profession. Scholar, Fighter, Police. Ale. Zajebiście. Mystic. Polar. Nie, Mystic chyba będzie byłoby lepsze. To dosłownie ty, Acewo. Disaster Delusion i Mystic. Nie wierzę. Self. Psychology. Dałabym trochę tutaj. Okultyzm bym wymaksowała. Craft, medicine. Medicine też zwiększyła. Sport. Diplomacy. Zwiększyła trochę. Psychology. Sport. Stuff. To bym dała też. No spoko. Spell. No selection. To jest lepsze. Barrier. Shield of Flash. Manipulation. Break the Mist. To jest fajne. Jezus Maria, to jest okropne już. L3. Dominate. Chyba to by było fajne. Red sign. Create a criminal sign in the flash that all target. Light. O, lepsze. No. Shield of Flash. No. Jest słabe trochę tutaj. Manipulation. Red sign może być. Rejty. Fancy. Talk about fake identity. Ja mogę wybrać ten. O, w sumie mogę nazwać cię tak. Możesz to być Puppy Love. To chyba ty będziesz. Tak in depth. Cardinal, Antisocial, Endurance. Puknąłbyś ten model? O, jak słodko. Może być to w sumie. Workaholic. To może być to. Fame. Altruizm. Mam już jednego altruistę. Emocjonalizm, moralizm, absurdyzm, egoizm. Mam ci egoizm. Impulsive. Paranoid. Ty jesteś bardziej paranoid właśnie. To daje disaster delusion. O kurwa. Ja CV. ACV. Wiedźką. No i zajebiście. No i fajnie. O, przynajmniej jeden moduł musi być ukończony z tą postacią. A jaki jest następny moduł? Jest taka możliwość? Jak sobie wyobrazić, to zawsze jest taka możliwość. Możliwość zawsze jest. Welcome to Thomson Town. No widzisz? Widzisz kochaniutki? Dobra, chyba wystarczy. Idziemy sobie może na YouTube'a. Obejrzymy coś, albo coś, albo coś, albo coś. Dobra. Just chatting. Just chatting. No i jesteśmy. No i super. Co my tu mamy? Heroes, Eros, Kontu, Hamster, Kasa. Bez kitu. Dobra. Woman with no aspiration. No cóż no. Zdarza się, zdarza się. No tu mamy... Muszę obejrzeć to Squid Game. Nowe. Bo nie oglądałem jeszcze. Stalker. Reddit Stalker. Możemy to obejrzeć w sumie. Zapraszam też do followowania, będę wtedy bardzo szczęśliwy.
The feeling of having your every move monitored and obsessed over is extremely unnerving. While stalking often takes place in person, the rise of the internet has given birth to a new form of it, being harbored inside the very thing that we all use every single day. Back in 2017, I made a video titled 3 Reddit Posts with Disturbing Backstories, and in it, we touched on a strange Reddit account by the name of Daryl Pratt. Now, back then I was still pretty new to the YouTube game.
The Reddit Stalker. Jakiejś stalkerce
I
redditowej.
essentially presented it to you as, here's an account, this guy is creepy, let's move on. Because of that, I wanted to circle back on him and
Mysia,
really dive into
cześć
the full
Mysia.
story of what it was that
Cześć
happened.
Eros.
Get comfortable, because Scare Theater and I are about to take you down the rabbit hole of the Reddit stalker by the name of Daryl Pratt.
Ojej, dobra.
You may have heard of a YouTuber by the name of Alana Pierce. Largely known for her previous work as a host for IGN, she has since grown exponentially in online notoriety. This is mostly due to her down-to-earth style on her YouTube channel, her involvement with Rooster Teeth, and other online shows such as Button Bash and Save Game Online. Her self-titled YouTube channel has, since 2009, garnered over 240,000 subscribers, with each of her videos primarily being commentary based in the field of gaming. Now, with such an online audience, a lot of supporters flock in your direction. However, so do the detractors, and in more extreme cases, even online stalkers. Alana has, in the past, shared her experiences with such people on her social media accounts, primarily Twitter, and has claimed numerous times that strange comments and online harassment have been commonplace for her. In one case, for example, she highlights a message in a tweet. Sometimes young boys on Facebook send me rape threats, so I've started telling their mothers. Attached with this are two photos, one showing the message to the mother and the other with her response. Not gonna lie, it's a pretty funny way to get back at people that send insensitive comments like this, but I digress. This was just one example of many that Alana has said she's received over time. In 2015, she would begin to date an online personality by the name of Blaine Gibson. Shortly after the relationship went public, one particular comment on one of her YouTube videos would climb its way to the top of r/nice guys for the world to see.
Wow, what a surprise. She has a boyfriend. But for real, what is it with the females that need to constantly be in a relationship? Like, why can't they be single for at least a month? Fuck, I watched all your videos since the beginning. I hope I can meet you one day and we can have something great. But no, you had to go and settle with the first douchebag that walked in front of you. I bet he doesn't even tell you how beautiful and freaking hot you are every day. I bet he didn't even care about you until you opened up to him. I'm so fucking tired of every single woman I like having a relationship. That's it, I'm so fucking done.
In a stoic response, Alana claimed, I was single for over 2 years before I started dating Blaine. Now, Nice Guys is a pretty large subreddit. Currently has 170,000 members. A post finding its way to the top here would undoubtedly have tons of eyes on it. As you might expect, people relayed this back to Alana, expressing shock and concern that someone would actually say something like this. In response to that, Alana released a video. On October 19th, 2017, an upload titled, My Stalker, My Side of the Story, would go live, and in it, she addresses the comments that we just touched on. She claimed that it sort of amused her, and that it's extremely common to get comments like this thrown her way. This, however, would lead into her explaining the more extreme situation that she found herself wrapped up in, regarding a Redditor by the name of Daryl Pratt.
So, about 2 years ago, this guy started commenting regularly on my social feeds. I cannot pinpoint the time when that happened.
Oczywiście, że Redditor, no kto by się spodziewał? Jakiej kurwa nienawidzę Reddita, ja pierdolę.
I would recognize his name, which, for the record, was always Bruce Wayne on social media. He never used his real name when talking to me. I never had any idea who he was. He never had real profiles. It was always a person going by a fake name with a penguin as their profile picture. So it was someone that I never had any way of identifying. And I still, for anyone who has asked me, do not know his name, do not have any contact with him, don't know
fucking
where he
hate
lives,
Reddit.
what his number is. People have been like, hey, you should check up on him, like, you should make sure he's okay. I don't have any way of contacting him at all. So he was just a guy who would comment on my social feeds regularly, and I didn't really think anything of it.
Before the Reddit tirades by this Daryl Pratt user, he would begin his antics over on YouTube with, as Alana stated, an account by the name of Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne?
If we head over to his channel, which has a picture of penguins as the profile photo, we can see that the few videos that he's uploaded to his channel involve picture compilations of various female online personalities, such as iJustine, Jenna Marbles, and Catrific. Furthermore, in his liked videos, we can see many uploads from these creators, alongside quite a few by Alana herself.
No, pamiętam. Ej, pamiętam.
According to her stalker video, Bruce would apparently comment on each of her videos, and she eventually took notice of it. The comments then got to the point to where they were extremely overbearing. In one instance, for example, Alana had gotten her eyebrows tattooed, and apparently he didn't like it. Back when she would post videos to IGN, people would, as you'd expect, comment nice things about her, and in response to this, he'd attack them, claiming that she'd gotten her eyebrows tattooed, as if it was something negative. Essentially, he had grown into this possessive gatekeeper for comments about her, policing what she can and cannot do to her body, and that's where she drew the line. When she eventually asked him to stop, he didn't. This ended up leading to a channel-wide block, which led to him messaging her on Facebook, also leading to a block. Afterwards, he created a new account and messaged her once more.
Ja pierdolę, nie.
But concurrently with this, Alana had a friend reach out to him, asking him
Ale
to stop.
jaki to ma cel
When
niby?
that account was banned, that is when he would take his efforts to Reddit.
Jaki on ma niby cel?
2016, Daryl would make his first post to the legal advice subreddit with the title, "Can I get in trouble for sending a girl love letters?" Now, the post back then was deleted by moderators, and using tools such as the Wayback Machine and Remove Edit didn't seem to work. But going by his other
Nie
posts that we're
rozumiem.
about to get into, it's safe to say that he was probably professing his love for Alana and asking for advice about sending love letters to either her home or place of work, both of which would be equally creepy. Other Redditors jumped on this, asking him to speak to a psychiatrist rather than a lawyer.
Psychiatrą,
telling him that if
dokładnie.
he's questioning the legality, then it's probably not fair to consider them love letters. This, among all the other advice that was given in this thread, was
No w sumie dobrze powiedział, żeby lepiej żeby pogadał z psychiatrą, a nie z prawnikiem.
He claimed,
I can almost guarantee that she does not want to be your friend. If you insist on contacting her, you will likely face harassment charges. You should stop this contact and see a medical professional as soon as you can. This obsession is not healthy.
And Daryl, in a bit of a delusion, would respond.
Thanks for the advice, but I think I'm going to keep sending letters for now.
Co?
If she tells me to stop, I'll stop, of
Jest
course.
nie wiem.
The guy in the movie The Notebook sent like 365 letters to that girl. I feel like if I send them for long enough,
Będzie.
how much I care about her, maybe she'll be friends with me then.
Będzie, Sławek.
I didn't know she didn't want those comments. She sent them without even a warning. I just wanted her to know how amazing she is. I would do anything just to be friends with her online.
Oj, to nie, to ja nawet blisko nie jestem.
She knows how cool she is. I don't see why this is wrong.
Now, for the next few days, Daryl would go on to make quite a few replies and posts to other Redditors and subreddits, basically pleading for any sliver of validation that he could scrounge up. Unfortunately, the next two threads that he would make
Benzin
would be
connection.
deleted. However, there are a couple that aren't, and they allow us to get a broader picture.
Nie wiem, ale słowo benzin mnie strasznie śmieszy, nie wiem.
Jumping ahead, on Friday, May 6th, he'd make a post once more in the legal advice subreddit with the title, "If someone bans me on Facebook and I make another account and pretend to be someone else, can I get in trouble?" Seemingly at a point of desperation, his post reads,
I followed this girl on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for over a year. She's a minor celebrity. I liked and commented on everything she has posted for over a year, and I only said nice things. She replied to me a lot. Then for no reason, she banned me from all of them. I've never met her, and probably never will, but her posts and replies were the best part of my day. I made another account begging her to unban me, but she just banned me from that one too with no response. She's literally the best thing in my life, so I was just going to make another account with a fake name to follow her, but I compliment her in every post, so I think she will suspect it's me. So, if I only say nice things and compliment her, it can't be harassment or stalking or anything, could it? I live in Kentucky, and she lives in California, so it's not like I'll
Aluminium w głowach, kurwica.
At this point, he's in a spot to where
Tego
he
nie
can't get her to like
pomalujesz.
him, he can't get her to respond to him, he was banned on multiple accounts, as
Tylko
unable to get
hajs.
support from any other Redditors, so now he's resorting to an
Tylko
attempt
hajsik.
at gaining validation for
Mamona.
catfishing her. Now, Alana isn't
Mamacita.
dumb. In her stalker video, she claimed that, while she gets odd comments all the time, she was able to pick up on his strange remarks specifically. With that in mind, it's safe to assume that no matter what he did to try to lure her in, she'd pick up on it.
Okay, OP, please read my full post. While you may be enthused with this person, you are engaging in behavior that falls into the literal definition of stalking. They obviously do not reciprocate your feelings. Your instinct to continue
Nie, Shinny Waifu on oglądał.
is not going to end well for you. You do not need to physically follow this person to have you criminally charged.
No i bardzo dobrze.
This is a serious situation.
No i
You
bardzo
should treat it
dobrze.
as such. No one here will assist you in your harassment of this woman.
Ja w ogóle Shinny Waifu widziałam na żywo, na konwencie kiedyś.
Resources in your area that can help you deal with this and move on. please consider reading some articles from here, as the information and strategy sections can help you help yourself. Your instinct will say, I'm not stalking her. It is wrong, you are. It's a psychological issue and you should reach out to a specialist and get help to treat it. Please, for your own good, please find some resources near yourself and get help before you put yourself in a situation you can't.
No, dobrze powiedział, dobrze powiedział.
He didn't.
Oh my god, how is it terrifying that I like a girl? The only one getting hurt is me.
Minus 235 punktów.
She won't even acknowledge me anymore. If I didn't like her so much, she would still reply to me, but because I'm in love with her, she won't. This is the worst feeling in the world.
You might notice here that there's a shift in narrative and an inconsistency in his logic. First off, he claims that he only wants to be friends with her, but then goes forth to say that he likes her and is in love with her.
Ja oglądam
Also,
o redditowym stalkerze.
still be pursuing her, which would
Tak, dokładnie, dokładnie. Jezu, jak ja oglądałam. Ja ci... Aż mi wspomnienie wróciły, jak oglądałam to. Ja cię. Zajebiste to było.
User makes post about stalking a girl, then gets angry when other users link his post and call him a creep. Now, I want you to pay attention to the narrative shift in action here with his response.
What is wrong is when a girl makes you fall in love with them and then completely crushes you by calling you a creep and banning you for no reason.
No to nie, to ja byłem za mało, żeby oglądać archiwum X.
That's wrong, not what I did.
Jeszcze... W sensie to było za późno. Ja już słodko spałam wtedy.
Anyway, now, with him pretty much against the world, he runs with this in a plethora of comments and responses over the next couple of weeks. I'm sure you get the picture at this point.
Jezu, on same minusowe punkty dostaje na tym.
He says this.
Na tym reddicie.
June 7th.
I was hoping to meet her before she banned me, and I would have asked her out. I love this girl more than most people love their wives or girlfriends. It makes me sick to my stomach thinking about her with another guy. How would you feel if your girlfriend found someone she likes more than you? That's how I feel.
Czemu nie możesz?
How the hell am I supposed to be happy about that?
June 8th.
I'll most likely be dead tonight, so that should make her extremely happy. Fuck this world.
To się wiesz, to jest po prostu obsesja.
Now, surprisingly, after his remarks penning the stalking on Alana for, quote, making people like
400 brutto?
was actually sent.
Rozumiem. Ja na przykład zarabiam 1 cent. 1 cent na 2 tygodnie i jestem... No i tyle, no.
They typically take a stark turn against you, creating social media accounts and such, essentially blasting you with swear words, posting screen caps of your face, and basically doing things that would make any creator extremely uncomfortable. In regards to Daryl, she went forth and stated that she's unsure of what happened to him and that she doesn't exactly like thinking about it. She believes that he potentially made yet another account and comments on her stuff,
No.
seeing as she gets anywhere from a few hundred to a few thousand comments per video. It's understandably pretty difficult to keep up with all of them. Either Daryl is truly deceased, he had an epiphany and realized that what he's doing is wrong, he got help from a professional.
Ja na Florydę bym się nie chciała dostać, to jest okropne miejsce.
Under a different alias entirely.
No ale wiesz, dla Polaka robaka to jest... To w sumie lepiej iść na zmywek do Anglii, niż pracować tutaj, bo więcej zarobi tam w miesiąc. Ale no. It is what it is.
A cosplayer that I'm in love with is having a meetup for her fans. She said before she doesn't hug at her meetups. I just want to grab her and hold her tight for a couple of seconds.
Zazwyczaj...
It's going to be in LA, California.
People in the comments took notice of his vernacular and username and shut him down pretty quickly. One thing we'd have to consider though is that this could be anyone. It's criminally
No
simple
jak
to
się
make a
przytula na
username
konwencie
already, so someone
cosplayerki
potentially could have jumped on this to do a bit of trolling.
bez zgody, to zazwyczaj się
Realizing
wtedy
this, people
policję
called him out,
wzywa.
and he responded in one last comment by saying that he was receiving death threats on the other account, so he switched to a new one. But you know me. This was too open-ended for my liking. I
No
noticed
widzisz,
that
no
his
widzisz.
second username was Daryl Prater V2. Okay, what about V3? Nope. V4? Well, would you look at that?
Kreatywnie.
This account is
Kreatywnie.
completely littered with posts about the best type of gun to use if, theoretically, someone shot themselves in the head. The first
Kreatywne
post
to
on the
ma.
account was on July 22nd
Mysia, cześć
in the
Mysia.
Mental Health subreddit and is titled,
Mysia
I want
biega
to
w
see a therapist,
kołowrotku.
but I'm afraid I'll be committed against my will.
I'm almost positive I'm going to kill myself, but I don't want to. I don't think a therapist will help, but I want to try. But I can't miss work or I'll get fired. So if an officer drags me to an asylum, I'll lose my job.
Nie wiem, widzę, że
I'll
jedna biega
definitely
w
kill
kołowrotku
myself because I need
i
my
tyle
job.
widzę w sumie.
What can I do?
In another thread posted on August 5th to the Guns subreddit, he asked, if someone shot themselves in the head with a 45 hollow point, what are the odds that they would live? When people responded with concern, he played it off as him simply writing a research paper.
Przecież banany to jest bardzo odżywcze. To są bardzo odżywcze owoce.
Zombies and Guns subreddits. If you were surrounded by zombies and had to shoot yourself with a 9mm or a 45, which would you pick? I have the feeling that you and I both know where this is going. So,
o kurwa.
I went over to perform an obituary search at legacy.com in a long-shot attempt at finding out if this was true. I entered the name as he initially had it in his first username, Dale. Search just Daryl. Nothing. Pratt. Nothing. Entered Daryl Prater like his new username and ended up finding one from August 6th. The same day that the zombies post was left on his last account. Daryl Prater, 55, from Kentucky, on August 6th. Now, there is one small catch. The year on this states that he died in 2017, whereas his last post was on the very same day in 2016. Now, either this is an insane coincidence, or this is the Daryl Pratt that we've been following all this time. I've done quite a bit of cross-checking with other obituary websites, and they all claim that this Daryl Prater passed away in 2017, so either he waited an entire year to the day from his very last post to do this, or this simply isn't him. That, and we also have to remember that not everyone gets an obituary. He could have very well carried out what he was hinting at with Daryl Prater V4, and there might simply not be any obituaries to back it up. Nonetheless, this coincidence is jarring, and I thought it was worth noting. There is someone else, though. A patron of mine by the name of Code Purple made an interesting connection that I'd like to note. If we head back over to that Bruce Wayne YouTube channel that I mentioned prior, we can notice that the channel URL doesn't line up with the name of it at all. In fact, it's pretty damn unique. Our Daryl Prater here actually has a MySpace page with that same URL. And here, we can see various photos of this guy all over it. The URL lines up, the page name matches, and it seems that this just might be our guy. This inevitably begs the question though, what happened to him? I also ended up finding
nie ma co się kłócić przez internet. Nie ma co. Ja na przykład lubię prowokować ludzi na Twitterze, że się śmiesznie denerwują, ale tak to nie ma co.
A beacon of life that I was able to stumble upon from him, though, falls in the Battlefield game forums of all places. Here, we can find posts from a Daryl Prater V3
no, na Twitterze najlepiej się kłócić.
2016, and more from Daryl Prater V2 that were posted in 2017. It seems to me that he's engaging in actual ordinary conversation with other people, which leads me to believe that he just might have halted his antics regarding Alana. Daryl Prater is a surprisingly common name. While we've dug through two of them, luckily, We've
Ja
seemed
też.
to find the guy, and although I wasn't able to dig up anything past
Nie, to
January
tyle w
of
sumie będzie.
2017, it seems as
Dobra. No, tam się najciekawiej wkurwiają właśnie. Co my tu mamy? I added felony to Minecraft.
There's like 200 different felonies in the United States, and today I'm gonna be making a mod that lets you commit every single one in Minecraft, from airplane hijacking all the way to the serial killing. So here's how I added being a serial killer to Minecraft. Instead of disappearing, bodies now stay on the ground, and you can tell that they're dead and not just sleeping because, like in real life, they'll have X's over their eyes. If an iron golem saw you do that, it'll get mad at you, but luckily, you can pick up a body and carry it around like this, although you do need both of your hands. And you could just leave the bodies in your basement, but that's not very hygienic. So over time, it'll start to smell and it'll even come up through your floorboards, especially if you're like me and you have a bunch of them under there. To avoid this, you could leave a body in the snow and wait for it to eventually catch fire, but someone else might stumble onto it.
No co nie? Bez kitu.
So you could do what I usually do,
Widzę, że się
which is put
rozumiemy.
them in between some pistons like this and squeeze them into juice. And then just let the juice trickle back into the river that the villagers drink from. Player bodies now stay on the ground as well, but you might be wondering, how do we get their items then? And the answer is to just right-click them with shields, which will open them right up and drop all the items they were holding. I also added serial killing, but what if you didn't want to kill them? What if you just wanted to hurt them? That brings us to our next felony, which is battery. To start off with, I made redstone blocks run out of power over time, which means you'll need to use a battery like this one. You can charge them up by manually pulling a lever back and forth. Just like in real life, this will make one of your arms much bigger than the other, which makes it easier to commit crimes like battery or aggravated battery, which is when you yell beforehand. Ah! You can throw a battery in some water to get battery acid, and just like in real life, if you drink it, you'll get transported to the energy dimension. There's infinite battery acid here and electricity flowing around everywhere. And the creepers are obviously charged, but so are all the other mobs. On the bright side, there are these spa structures and masseuse villagers for you to rest and recharge at, and redstone in the energy dimension is still infinite. I also added this aggravated battery, and now we've done like 3 out of 200 felonies. Since we still have so many of them to go through, let's do a little speed round before we get back to the heavy stuff like unending physical and psychological torture. This is assault, and if you get some water from the ocean and boil it, you'll get assault. And this is assault with assault. This is assault with a deadly weapon. It does also count for attempt to commit murder, but for posterity, I'll also push this villager off a cliff where they'll be left with one heart and 0 working legs. First degree murder is where you meant to do it and planned it all out. So here is me building a very complex redstone machine that ends up crushing a villager. Second degree murder is where you meant to do it but didn't plan it out, so I'm just gonna close my eyes and shoot until I hear a villager die. And third degree murder is where you didn't even mean to do it, so here's me feeding a peanut to a villager that I didn't know had a nut allergy. This is assassination. This is vandalism. This is arson. This is bombing matters. And if you put them together, this is use of fire and explosives to destroy property. I just now realized I forgot to put these in alphabetical order, but this is animal cruelty.
Dziękuję za followka, paniutki. Dziękuję bardzo.
To this half sheep, half Enrod 9 months later is also probably animal cruelty. But if you breed these half sheep, half En-rods together to make sheep that are only 1/4 sheep and 3/4 En-rod, is that still animal cruelty? What about if you keep breeding and you get to these sheep that are 90% En-rod and only 10% sheep? Anyways, every time you steal from a village, that's robbery. But in order to let you shoplift, I had to add a Walmart to every village. And now you can just run through the aisles and take everything you want. Now I'm gonna add airplane hijacking, but for this to make sense in Minecraft, I have to first add a fully realistic flying experience to the game. After you get to the airport, you'll have to put all of your items into separate trays at security, which means if you have 64 cobblestone, you'll need 64 trays. Also, you'll have to take off your shoes, and you can bring bottles of liquid, but not buckets. Just like in real life, if you empty out a lava bucket at the airport, you're going to cause a huge scene and probably be arrested by the police. Assuming you get through security, you can hop on any flight to any biome or structure. And once you're on the plane, you can pay the flight attendants extra for airplane food, like airplane meat, which was obviously farmed at an airplane farm. Sometimes there will be turbulence, and if you think you can do a better job of flying the plane, you're welcome to hop into the pilot's cabin and give it a try. I also added laser pointers so that you can point a laser at an airplane. Now, some could argue that the airport airplane experience is torture enough on its own, but to be thorough, I added regular torture to Minecraft anyways. Regular torture isn't very effective since you don't feel the pain in real life. So instead, your Minecraft world is now a giant simulation. And when you spawn in, you'll be given a life purpose like finding a girlfriend, but you'll be rejected again and again and again, no matter how many tutorials you watch. Sometimes, to give you a bit of false hope, you'll get the girl and raise a family together and watch your baby take its first steps, just to see them all be unalived right in front of you. And then you'll have to alternate between dealing with your grief and trying to avenge your family forever while they taunt you. When you've abandoned all hope, you might do something like this, and then you'll respawn again with no memory of what's happened. I also added torture, which is where you're just here forever. And I already added vehicular man's laughter in this video, along with transformers and tickling. And I know the thumbnail says Hawk Tua, but I added identity theft and kidnapping in this video. But even though we made good progress getting through all the violent felonies
Zajebisty jest ten chłop, kocham go. On robi tak zajebiste mody. Wow. Wow. Dobra, co my tu mamy? Co my tu mamy? Dobrze. Dark Side of Horse Games? Predator in Horse Games. No kto by się spodziewał? Dobra. Nick, masz coś fajnego czy nie masz? O! Nowe. Nowe w sumie dał.
It's December 4th, 2003.
No zajebiste to jest. Applause!
A police officer walking in a local park in Arlington, Virginia, is approached by a concerned family, claiming that someone in a nearby neighborhood had been shooting off a flare gun. The officer could hear it too, and following the sound, he eventually found himself at the home of 56-year-old James Yu. The man lived alone in his half of this duplex, and was described by neighbors as a recluse known to exhibit unusual behavior. Across his social media, he made posts claiming that he was the victim of fraud at the hands of all sorts of government agencies, as he had a deep distrust of the US government as well as law enforcement, and he believed that numerous people were attempting to kill him, like his ex-wife, the FBI, and even his neighbors. His posts seemed entirely nonsensical, and so did many of his actions.
Some FBI.
Months prior, he had covered up all of his windows with garbage bags and aluminum foil, and he even wrapped his trees in toilet paper. And though these actions are entirely harmless, on this day, things were becoming far more troubling. When police arrived at his home, you would be seen firing his flare gun out of his window and into the air, over and over again, and despite repeated attempts to get him to stop.
Arlington County Police! Stop shooting the flares! Mr. Yu!
He didn't let up, shooting 41 flares in the span of just 25 minutes, and he did it all with no explanation. In fact, he didn't even say a single word. Understandably, police were eager to get Yu out of his home for questioning, as at this point it wasn't obvious whether or not he was a threat. And so for hours and hours they called out to him, first asking and then demanding that he exit his home.
James, Arlington Police, come to the front door with your hands up, do it now. We have your building surrounded.
But still, there was no response. Growing impatient and worried that Yu might be planning something, the police would eventually bring in a specialized vehicle to bust down the door and spray the inside of the home with gas, all in an attempt to draw Yu outside.
James, stay away from your front door. Stay away from your front door, James.
Ale wyjebali.
And in response, Yu began firing once again. Only this time, he wasn't using flares. And instead, he was now yielding an actual gun. Thankfully, none of these shots connected, but with the situation becoming increasingly dangerous, the officers decided to fall back, as they carefully came up with a new plan for apprehending Yu. Though whatever they had been planning would never come to fruition.
AR-15.
Yeah.
A. Co? Co się stało? O kurwa! O kurwa! O kurwa! Wysadził cały dom!
In a split second, the home was gone, as a massive explosion rang out from inside the house, reducing the entire structure to rubble. Inside the house, Yu had stored 55 gallons of gasoline in his basement, which he saved for that moment to ignite, with no warning and no explanation. Based on the footage, it's been theorized that Yu's actions were an attempt to lure police into his home, so that he could then set off this explosion and take them all out along with his neighbors, as he genuinely believed that both parties were conspiring to kill him. Though somehow, when the smoke cleared, no civilians or police officers had so much as been injured. All that was found in the rubble was the remnants of a single body. Though for a moment, this wasn't the end of James Yu's story. Before that body could be identified, reports across social media began emerging showing that James Yu was somehow still alive.
Co? Jak to?
After the blast, comments were being made on what appeared to be Yu's YouTube channel, where he stated that this whole thing was a cover-up and that he wasn't even inside the home when the standoff started, which looking back, we never actually see him, and we also never hear his voice. Numerous posts pointing out this development would go viral and cause mass confusion about the story, which was only heightened when it was revealed that the body inside that building was in fact James Yu. Though in the end, it wasn't really as mysterious as some originally thought. As it turns out, the post showing these comments failed to realize that this wasn't actually Yu's account, and instead it had a completely different username, with the account likely having been created as nothing more than a hoax. To this day though, there are some that still believe that this was all some sort of massive cover-up, but in reality it just seems that this was the result of a man gripped by crippling paranoia and loneliness, with it all coming to a head in what has gone on to become one of YouTube's darkest videos.
No, pojebane to jest.
There was really nothing else like it. This obscure 27,000 square foot structure allowed visitors to enter into what must have felt like another dimension. It was an exhibit called Dream Space and was the creation of British artist Maurice Agus, a 74-year-old artistic visionary obsessed with the idea of creating large-scale surreal environments, and this was his magnum opus. The structure was inflatable, akin to a massive bounce house, and once inside, guests were confronted with a labyrinth of brightly colored walls
sumie takie miejsce byłoby dobre dla autystyków chyba.
This piece of art premiered back in 2004.
W sensie wiesz, jako
it was actually built to travel, making stops in major cities in the UK before it was eventually set up at Riverside Park in Durham.
Jako te sensoryczne takie tego typu.
The very next day, 68-year-old Elizabeth Collins would visit the area with her husband and her daughter, as well as her 14-year-old
Miau, miau, miau. Jesteś w Ameryce? Przykro mi.
Elizabeth's grandson insisted on checking it out, excitedly taking off his shoes and running inside. And while the rest of the group was more apprehensive about entering, Elizabeth eventually decided to accompany him.
Ej, a co tam? Jak się czujesz?
Though not before turning back to them and joking that she was going in to find peace and serenity. Outside, Elizabeth's husband and daughter sat at a nearby table and enjoyed a cup of tea whilst conversing about the events of the week, only for the man to turn his head and notice that Dream Space was slightly moving, to which he excitedly said, "Oh, it's a ride, it's a ride. I wish I had gone on it." The daughter then turned her head to see the structure as it began to rise up off the ground, to which she chillingly responded, "It's not a ride."
O. Ej, przykro mi, że do szkoły musisz iść. O kurwa. O chuj. Tak, jestem bardzo dumna. Są podstawy polskiego.
In that moment, Dream Space had snapped from its moorings and was blown into the air by a massive gust of wind. Agus just so happened to be standing at the entrance as it began to shift, and noticing what was happening, he grabbed on as he desperately tried to hold down his entire life's work, though clearly this was of no use. And after being lifted in the air, his grip failed, sending him falling back to the ground below where he lay staring up at his creation, that was now flying 30 feet above him.
O, jak słodko.
Inside, there were as many as 30 people who were now being thrashed around this giant inflatable structure in a scene that I truly can't even imagine. The claustrophobia of it, the dizzying colors, the screams. It's genuinely one of the most horrific scenarios I've ever heard. The inflatable structure was airborne for well over an hour, folding into itself before finally crashing back down into a parking lot, leaving behind what was described by witnesses as a field of bodies. Worst of all, the majority of those in attendance were families with small children, with one 7-year-old girl recounting her experience, saying,
Słuchaj, mój chłopak codziennie tak do mnie mówi.
Screaming. I saw a lady clinging on and then falling out, and then she was lying on her back with people around her. I think she died. This lady was most likely 68-year-old Elizabeth Collins, who had been ejected from the structure when it was in the air, with her injuries being catastrophic and unsurvivable. Of all the others now sprawled throughout this field of grass, most were left injured but thankfully not in serious condition, though this wasn't the case for 38-year-old Claire Fromage, who had been inside during the accident with her 2 children, and despite her kids surviving, she was sadly not so lucky, with Claire and Elizabeth being the sole fatalities of the incident. The video is terrifying, and though it's easy to say that this could have been so much worse, considering how many people were in Dream Space at the time, the consequences were still catastrophic, as it devastated 2 families, and likely left many others at the scene traumatized for life, especially the young children. But how could this have happened? Well, that day was particularly warm, which likely caused the air inside the structure to expand, causing a hot air balloon-like effect, which was then exacerbated by sudden strong gusts of wind, which eventually caused the structure to go airborne, as in the end it just wasn't properly secured for the conditions. Soon after the incident, Maurice Agus was arrested for manslaughter, though he would ultimately only end up paying a small fine, as he vowed to never create a large work again. Just a few years later in 2009, Maurice Agus would pass away, with his legacy forever being defined by this devastating footage.
Happy birthday to you. Happy
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
On October
to
2nd,
you.
2006, police entered the home of 31-year-old Elaine Campione, where inside they found the woman speaking incoherently. Next to her was a VHS camera, depicting a series of disturbing events that had transpired within the home over the previous months and days, with the footage eventually finding its way onto YouTube.
Hi, Serena. It's August 8th, 2006. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
The tape starts with Elaine pointing her new camera at her daughter Serena. It was her 3rd birthday, and to celebrate, Elaine had left a brand new bike in the living room.
What is it?
It's a bike.
Days later, the footage continues, showing Serena once again as Elaine asks,
How does Mama love you?
This much.
Oh, I love you more than that. How much does Mama love you?
Elaine then shows her other daughter Sophia, who was just a baby, before turning the camera on herself and showing the kids how the device worked.
Hi! See how the camcorder works? Look.
It's a farmer.
Zamieszczanka boli.
Look. Hi!
Masakra.
Is that Mommy? Hi!
So far, the footage seems like nothing more than your standard family home videotape, and appears completely wholesome. Though with the next recording, the tone begins to shift, and things start to become slightly concerning.
This is a deplorable, horrible, messy, filthy apartment that supposedly my 2 children and I live in, and it's just a horrible, horrible mess. Yeah. I think Diego Campione is totally in the wrong, and I hope he burns in hell for all his sins. The same as Leonardo.
As Elaine shows the camera her home, she is joking about how they are living in deplorable conditions, before randomly calling out 2 men who she says she hopes burn in hell, all while her children are in the same room. She starts to grow more and more agitated.
All I wanted to do was take care of my 2 little girls and live happily ever after the 3 years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse that I endured tremendously by Leonardo Campione, and then the past year from Anna and Diego Campione, the mental and emotional abuse.
Outright saying that she was abused by a man named Leonard Campione, who happened to be her ex-husband and the father of these children. And she goes on from there, with each moment clearly making the kids more and more anxious.
And I want justice to my family for what they have all done to us. I cried out for help. They should have charged him for the assaults he did to me.
Eventually causing Elaine to snap out of it and stop the camera.
And my poor 3-year-old, I did everything to protect. And what are you saying, Sophia? What do you want?
The video then skips forward once more, with this footage being taken just days before the police were called, showing Serena coloring on the floor as Elaine asks,
Who loves ya?
Mommy.
Who loves you the most? That much? Oh, I think I love you more than that.
The scene that unfolds next was recorded on that very same night, just hours later.
Okay.
Recording this because Leo there. Are you happy? Everything's gone. You wouldn't give peace. You wouldn't tell the truth. You didn't care about our babies. You didn't care about me. You care about yourself. All you did was hurt us.
In the video, Elaine states that everything is gone, as she speaks to Leo directly, accusing him of having ruined their lives with his constant abuse.
You are truly the devil. And I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
Nieprzyjemne bardzo.
I hate you. I hate you. And I want you to know how much I hate you.
Disturbingly, the children were nowhere to be seen in this footage, with Elaine eventually addressing them by saying,
God believes me. And God's taking care of them now.
Ja dzisiaj oglądałem K-dramy i tak się popłakałam. Oglądałam dramę i było mi tak smutno.
According to Elaine, not only were her children gone, but she was too, as she stops the recording soon after. Despite saying this, the camera would actually start up one more time, where Elaine describes how she was still alive, despite having attempted to OD, which prompted her to call the police. When officers arrived at the home, both Serena and Sophia were found laying in her mother's bed, holding hands, and wrapped tightly in rosaries. Neither of them were alive. 2 nights prior, and directly before filming this message, Elaine had brought them both into the bathroom, as it was time for their nightly baths.
Hi, my name is
she told them to play a game, one where they would place their heads beneath the water and blow out bubbles. When they did this, Elaine held their heads down, and she didn't let go until she was certain they were gone. This footage is some of the most disturbing that I've ever seen. It's a glimpse into Elaine's descent into madness, in the moments directly before she stole her children's lives. All of this leaves one obvious question. Why? Well, it was noted during her investigation that the abuse she alleged from her ex-husband Leo seemed to be very real and well documented over the years, leading to Leo not being able to see his children for over a year, with this causing the two to separate, which is when Elaine's mind began to deteriorate. She began believing that people were following her and were going to kill her, with this fear of people eventually shifting to a fear of aliens, as she claimed to have seen them on numerous occasions, believing they were following her. Because of this fear, she refused to let her children out of her sight, not even allowing her own parents to look after them, causing her to become so attached to these children that she genuinely began to believe that they were all one entity, which made things incredibly concerning when
Zniszczenie emocjonalne
and eventually attempted to take her own life.
doprowadziło do tego.
Despite Leo's more than troubled history, he had supposedly turned his life around in the years leading to this footage, and was eventually allowed to start visiting the children on a limited capacity. And seeing the children and seeing the way their mother was behaving, he began to grow incredibly concerned, and eventually attempted to gain full custody. And it was this bitter custody battle that seemed to be the ultimate factor that led to Elaine ending the lives of her children.
God's taking care of them now. He's protected by God, thank God. Thank you. Because there's no...
Jezu, co ci sąsiedzi kurwa z góry robią?
Elaine Campione would be charged with 2 counts of murder and would eventually be sentenced to life in prison, with a possibility of parole after 25 years. Today, she's held in a minimum security prison, where she's free to leave once every weekend to attend church and other functions.
No ja pierdolę! No, pojebane to jest.
On April 18th, 2010,
Bo słyszę, że szurają kurwa na sąsiedzi na górze.
Prison in the UK. His freedom would last less than 24 hours, as the very next day he suffered a severe mental breakdown, the result of which was captured partially across several video recordings that later appeared on YouTube. This is the story of his rampage. It began at approximately 9 a.m. in the city of Nottinghamshire when Gavin left his home. As he walked down the sidewalk, those in the area reported him acting strangely, muttering to himself that he was Jesus and that he was invincible. Without warning, he then turned his attention to a random home, which he forcefully entered, stole a man's car keys, and took his vehicle, taking off with no apparent destination. Inside the car, the owner just so happened to have 2 cameras, one being a standard dash cam and the other facing inside the vehicle, giving us a look at Gavin and his apparent mental state.
This is me. Jesus Christ, I'll show you after the eyesight I've got. Hey, don't need this. Come on, let's go, bro. Stop getting rid of all the crap pairs. Let's go, let's go.
Just at a glance, it's obvious that Gavin is completely unhinged. For some reason, he was utterly filled with rage, ripping off the rearview mirror and yelling obscenities and incomprehensible threats at no one in particular.
I'm enraged! I'm Jesus! I'm descendant of God! And you lock me up! Watch this! You...
And most concerning of all is the speed in which he's traveling, as he starts driving faster and faster, swerving in and out of cars as he passes through busy residential areas, as he reaches speeds that have been estimated to be anywhere from 85 miles an hour to well over 120.
Watch this now! I'm getting stronger and stronger by the second!
But somehow, despite countless close calls, every time he avoids collision, at least for the time being.
No dostałam darmo. Napisali do mnie i mam takiego.
with the impact being devastating.
Jakoś znalazłem.
And yet somehow through the destruction, Gavin was not only still alive, but completely unharmed.
Mogę wysłać ci na Discordzie link do nich.
He pulled himself from the wreckage and immediately turned his attention to a woman driving nearby, and within moments he had forced his way into the vehicle and was behind the wheel once again, continuing this deranged driving spree until once again he crashed. And much like the initial collision, he survived, walking away unscathed before turning his attention to another random home. In pursuit of stealing his third vehicle, he grabbed a nearby concrete slab and began to smash through the home's doors, bloodying his hand in the process, before eventually making entry. Inside were a mother and her 2 children, one of which was 5 years old, and the other wasn't even a year. Gavin approached the terrified family, yelling and demanding that the mother give up her car keys, telling her that he was Jesus and that, "Because I am Jesus, I will kill you if you don't give me the keys." And without hesitation, she did as he said. Gavin then went to each member of the family, and with his injured hand, he drew crosses on their forehead, out of his own blood, before taking off with his third stolen car.
Ja pierdolę. Jezus, co on robi?
Gavin was driving manically, though this time he was even more reckless, crashing into a brick wall and then a cop car. Before setting his sights on a pedestrian. While speeding through a neighborhood, Gavin would see a man standing innocently near a bus stop, and for whatever reason, the sight of this man enraged him, causing Gavin to slam on the brakes and reverse the vehicle, stepping on the gas as hard as he could, and crashing directly into him, leaving him lying there with devastating injuries. Gavin quickly exited the vehicle and found the man lying motionless on the ground, prompting him to shout, "I've killed him. I've killed the devil." Minutes later, Gavin would crash yet another car into yet another home, though this time the police weren't far behind.
Nie wiem, nie rozumiem. Ja pierdolę.
This way. I'll get him out. I'll get him out. Oh no! Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Do not move! Do not move! Get him up! Get him down!
Finally bringing his disturbed driving spree to an end. The man that Gavin had struck was 87-year-old Terry Radford, a retired teacher whose injuries were catastrophic, with the man passing away soon after. According to his family, Terry was an incredible grandfather, father, and son. The footage is genuinely horrifying, but what's most shocking of all is the fact that any of this was even allowed to happen. As stated previously, this was Gavin's very first day out of prison, and based on the behavior he exhibited whilst in prison, he really should have never been released. Gavin was granted an early release in March of 2019 for charges based around burglary, but just as he was set to be freed, it was discovered that he had submitted an adulterated drug test, which caused his case to be re-examined and resulted in his release being postponed. In response, Gavin lost his mind. Later that month, he assaulted a prison guard before spraying him with an unknown liquid that contained bleach, before proceeding to set his cell on fire and attacking another officer with a piece of wood. Due to his actions, Gavin was placed into an isolated cell, where less than a week later he started yet another fire, and when an officer entered his cell to put it out, Gavin struck them in the head and pulled out a plastic knife, threatening to slash him,
przyspiesza czy spowalnia?
to kill him. Gavin's stay in prison
Nie pamiętam.
hadn't rehabilitated him. In fact, it seemed to have made him more violent than ever before, and more mentally disturbed. Though shockingly, despite all of these additional crimes, Colin's release would go on to be approved less than 2 weeks later, with Gavin being set free on April 18th, and within just 24 hours, Terry Radford would be brutally killed. Gavin was sentenced to 21 years in prison, and during his trial it was revealed that no drugs were found in his system, and instead this all seemed to be the result of some sort of psychotic episode that just so happened to be captured on camera in one of YouTube's darkest videos.
Dobra, chyba już będziemy kończyć, widzowie. Na dzisiaj. No będziemy chyba kończyć. Bo jestem zmęczony już bardzo. Więc kocham was bardzo, moi widzowie. I widzimy się następnym razem. Bye bye.